As Europe's largest economy and second most populous nation, after Russia, Germany is a key member of the continent's economic, political, and defense organizations. European power struggles immersed Germany in two devastating world wars in the first half of the 20th century and left the country occupied by the victorious Allied powers of the US, UK, France, and the Soviet Union in 1945. With the advent of the Cold War, two German states were formed in 1949.
The Western Federal Republic of Germany, FRG, and the Eastern German Democratic Republic, GDR. The Democratic FRG embedded itself in key Western economic and security organizations, the EC, now the EU, and NATO, while the Communist GDR was on the front line of the Soviet-led Warsaw Pact. The decline of the USSR and the end of the Cold War allowed for German reunification in 1990. Since then, Germany has expended considerable funds to bring Eastern productivity and wages up to Western standards. In January 1999, Germany and 10 other EU countries introduced a common European exchange currency, the euro.
Geography.
Germany.
Location.
Central Europe, bordering the Baltic Sea and the North Sea, between the Netherlands and Poland, south of Denmark.
Geographic coordinates.
5100 N, 900 E.
Map references.
Europe.
Area.
Total.
357,022 square kilometers.
Land.
348,672 square kilometers.
Water.
8,350 square kilometers.
Country comparison to the world.
64.
Area comparative.
3 times the size of Pennsylvania, slightly smaller than Montana.
Area comparison map.
Area comparison map.
Land boundaries.
Total.
3,714 kilometers.
Border countries, 9.
Austria 801 kilometers, Belgium 133 kilometers, Czech Republic 704 kilometers, Denmark 140 kilometers, France 418 kilometers, Luxembourg 128 kilometers, Netherlands 575 kilometers, Poland 467 kilometers, Switzerland 348 kilometers.
Coastline.
2,389 kilometers.
Maritime claims.
Territorial sea.
12 nanometers.
Exclusive economic zone.
200 nanometers.
Continental shelf.
200-meter depth or to the depth of exploitation.
Climate.
Temperate and marine. Cool, cloudy, wet winters and summers. Occasional warm mountain. Wind.
Terrain.
Lowlands in north, uplands in center, Bavarian Alps in south.
Elevation.
Mean elevation.
263 m.
Lowest point.
Neuendorf bei Wilster -3.5 m.
Highest point.
Zugspitze 2,963 m.
Natural resources.
Coal, lignite, natural gas, iron ore, copper, nickel, uranium, potash, salt, construction materials, timber, arable land.
Land use.
Agricultural land.
48%.
Arable land.
34.1%. Permanent crops.
0.6%. Permanent pasture.
13.3%.
Forest.
31.8%.
Other.
20.2%.
Irrigated land.
6,500 square kilometers.
Population distribution.
Most populous country in Europe. A fairly even distribution throughout most of the country, with urban areas attracting larger and denser populations, particularly in the far western part of the industrial state of North Rhine-Westphalia.
Natural hazards.
Flooding.
Environment. Current issues.
Emissions from coal-burning utilities and industries contribute to air pollution. Acid rain, resulting from sulfur dioxide emissions, is damaging forests. Pollution in the Baltic Sea from raw sewage and industrial effluents from rivers in eastern Germany. Hazardous waste disposal. Government established a mechanism for ending the use of nuclear power by 2022. Government working to meet EU commitment to identify nature preservation areas in line with the EU's Flora, Fauna, and Habitat Directive.
Environment. International agreements.
Party 2.
Air pollution, nitrogen oxides, air pollution persistent organic pollutants, air pollution sulfur 85, air pollution sulfur 94, air pollution volatile organic compounds, Antarctic Environmental Protocol, Antarctic Marine Living Resources, Antarctic Seals, Antarctic Treaty, Biodiversity, Climate Change Kyoto Protocol, Desertification, Endangered Species, Environmental Modification, Hazardous Wastes, Law of the Sea, Marine Dumping, Ozone Layer Protection, Ship Pollution, Tropical Timber 83, Tropical Timber 94, Wetlands, Whaling.
Signed, but not ratified.
None of the selected agreements.
Geography. Note.
Strategic location on North European plain and along the entrance to the Baltic Sea. Most major rivers in Germany, the Rhine, Weser, Oder, Elbe, flow northward. The Danube, which originates in the Black Forest, flows eastward.
People and society.
Germany.
Population.
80,159,662.
Country comparison to the world.
19.
Nationality.
Noun.
Germans.
Adjective.
German.
Ethnic groups.
German 87.2%, Turkish 1.8%, Polish 1%, Syrian 1%, other 9%.
Note.
Data represent population by nationality.
Languages.
German, official.
Note.
Danish, Frisian, Sorbian, and Romani are official minority languages. Low German, Danish, North Frisian, Sater Frisian, Lower Sorbian, Upper Sorbian, and Romani are recognized as regional languages under the European Charter for Regional or Minority Languages.
Religions.
Roman Catholic 27.7%, Protestant 25.5%, Muslim 5.1%, Orthodox 1.9%, other Christian 1.1%, other 9%, none 37.8%.
Age structure.
0 to 14 years.
12.89%. Male 5,302,850. Female 5,025,863.
15 to 24 years.
9.81%. Male 4,012,412. Female 3,854,471.
25 to 54 years.
38.58%. Male 15,553,328. Female 15,370,417.
55 to 64 years.
15.74%. Male 6,297,886. Female 6,316,024.
65 years and over.
22.99%. Male 8,148,873. Female 10,277,538.
Population pyramid.
Population pyramid.
Dependency ratios. Dependency ratios are a measure of the age structure of a population. They relate the number of individuals that are likely to be economically dependent on the support of others. Dependency ratios contrast the ratio of youths, ages 0 to 14, and the elderly, ages 65 plus, to the number of those in the working age group, ages 15 to 64. Changes in the dependency ratio provide an indication of potential social support requirements resulting from changes in population age structures. As fertility level. More dependency ratios. Field listing.
Total dependency ratio.
55.4.
Youth dependency ratio.
21.7.
Elderly dependency ratio.
33.7.
Potential support ratio.
3.
Median age.
Total.
47.8 years.
Male.
46.5 years.
Female.
49.1 years.
Country comparison to the world.
4.
Population growth rate. The average annual percent change in the population, resulting from a surplus, or deficit, of births over deaths and the balance of migrants entering and leaving a country. The rate may be positive or negative. The growth rate is a factor in determining how great a burden would be imposed on a country by the changing needs of its people for infrastructure, for example, schools, hospitals, housing, roads, resources, for example, food, water, electricity, and jobs. Rapid population growth can be seen as More population growth rate field listing.
minus 0.19%.
Country comparison to the world.
209.
Birth rate.
8.6 births out of 1,000 population.
Country comparison to the world.
215.
Death rate.
12.1 deaths out of 1,000 population.
Country comparison to the world.
16.
Net migration rate.
1.5 migrant s out of 1,000 population.
Country comparison to the world.
54.
Population distribution.
Most populous country in Europe. A fairly even distribution throughout most of the country, with urban areas attracting larger and denser populations, particularly in the far western part of the industrial state of North Rhine-Westphalia.
Urbanization.
Urban population.
77.5% of total population, 2020.
Rate of urbanization.
0.27% annual rate of change.
Major urban areas. Population.
3.562 million Berlin, capital. 1.790 million Hamburg, 1.538 million Munich, 1.119 million Cologne, 2020.
Sex ratio.
At birth.
1.05 male every 1 female.
0 to 14 years.
1.06 male every 1 female.
15 to 24 years.
1.04 male every 1 female.
25 to 54 years.
1.01 male every 1 female.
55 to 64 years.
1 male every 1 female.
65 years and over.
0.79 male every 1 female.
Total population.
96.3 male every 1 female.
Mother's mean age at first birth.
29.4 years.
Maternal mortality rate. The maternal mortality rate, MMR, is the annual number of female deaths per 100,000 live births from any cause related to or aggravated by pregnancy or its management, excluding accidental or incidental causes. The MMR includes deaths during pregnancy, childbirth, on within 42 days of termination of pregnancy, irrespective of the duration and site of the pregnancy, for a specified year. Maternal mortality rate field listing.
7 deaths/100,000 live births.
Country comparison to the world.
154.
Infant mortality rate.
Total.
3.3 deaths out of 1,000 live births.
Male.
3.6 deaths out of 1,000 live births.
Female.
3 deaths out of 1,000 live births.
Country comparison to the world.
206.
Life expectancy at birth.
Total population.
81.1 years.
Male.
78.7 years.
Female.
83.6 years.
Country comparison to the world.
37.
Total fertility rate.
1.47 children born/woman.
Country comparison to the world.
208.
Contraceptive prevalence rate. This field gives the percent of women of reproductive age, 15 to 49, who are married or in union and are using, or whose sexual partner is using, a method of contraception according to the date of the most recent available data. The contraceptive prevalence rate is an indicator of health services, development, and women's empowerment. It is also useful in understanding past, present, and future fertility trends, especially in developing countries. Contraceptive prevalence rate field listing.
80.3%.
Note.
Percent of women aged 18 to 49.
Drinking water source.
Improved.
Urban.
100% of population.
Rural.
100% of population.
Total.
100% of population.
Unimproved.
Urban.
0% of population.
Rural.
0% of population.
Total.
0% of population.
Current health expenditure: current health expenditure, CHE, describes the share of spending on health in each country relative to the size of its economy. It includes expenditures corresponding to the final consumption of healthcare goods and services and excludes investment, exports, and intermediate consumption. CHE shows the importance of the health sector in the economy and indicates the priority given to health in monetary terms. Note:
Current health expenditure replaces the former health expenditures field. More current health expenditure field listing.
11.1%.
Physicians density.
4.21 physicians out of 1,000 population.
Hospital bed density.
8.3 beds out of 1,000 population.
Sanitation facility access.
Improved.
Urban.
99.3% of population.
Rural.
99% of population.
Total.
99.2% of population.
Unimproved.
Urban.
0.7% of population.
Rural.
1% of population.
Total.
0.8% of population.
HIV/AIDS adult prevalence rate.
0.1%.
Country comparison to the world.
123.
HIV/AIDS people living with HIV/AIDS.
87,000.
Country comparison to the world.
46.
HIV/AIDS deaths.
Total.
17 years.
Male.
17 years.
Female.
17 years.
Unemployment, youth ages 15 to 24.
Total.
6.8%.
Male.
7.6%.
Female.
5.8%.
Country comparison to the world.
157.
Government.
Germany.
Country name.
Conventional long form.
Federal Republic of Germany.
Conventional short form.
Germany.
Local long form.
Bundesrepublik Deutschland.
Local short form.
Deutschland.
Former.
German Reich.
Etymology.
The Gauls, Celts, of Western Europe may have referred to the newly arriving Germanic tribes who settled in neighboring areas east of the Rhine during the 1st century BC as Germani, a term the Romans adopted as Germania. The native designation, Deutsch, comes from the Old High German, Deutsch, meaning, of the people.
Government type.
Federal Parliamentary Republic.
Capital.
Name.
Berlin.
Geographic coordinates.
5231 1324E.
Time difference.
UTC +1, 6 hours ahead of Washington, D.C., during Standard Time.
Daylight saving time.
+1 hour, begins last Sunday in March, ends last Sunday in October.
Etymology.
The origin of the name is unclear but may be related to the Old West Slavic, Polabian, word burl or burl, meaning swamp.
Administrative divisions.
16 states. Länder, singular, land. Baden-Württemberg, Bayern, Bavaria, Berlin, Brandenburg, Bremen, Hamburg, Hessen, Hesse, Mecklenburg-Vorpommern, Mecklenburg-Western Pomerania, Niedersachsen, Lower Saxony, Nordrhein-Westfalen, North Rhine-Westphalia, Rhineland-Pfalz, Rhineland-Palatinate, Saarland, Saxon, Saxony, Saxon-Anhalt, Saxony-Anhalt, Schleswig-Holstein, Thuringen, Thuringia. Note: Bayern, Saxon, and Thuringen refer to themselves as free states. Freistaten, singular, Freistadt, while Bremen calls itself a free Hanseatic city, Free Hansestadt, and Hamburg considers itself a free and Hanseatic city, Free und Hansestadt.
Independence: for most countries. This entry gives the date that sovereignty was achieved and from which nation, empire, or trusteeship. For the other countries, the date given may not represent independence in the strict sense, but rather some significant nationhood event such as the traditional founding date or the date of unification, federation, confederation, establishment, fundamental change in the form of government, or state succession. For a number of countries, the establishment of statehood. More independence field listing.
The 18th of January 1871, establishment of the German Empire, divided into 4 zones of occupation, UK, US, USSR, and France. In 1945, following World War II, Federal Republic of Germany, FRG or West Germany, proclaimed on the 23rd of May 1949 and included the former UK, US, and French zones. German Democratic Republic, GDR or East Germany, proclaimed on the 7th of October 1949 and included the former USSR zone. West Germany and East Germany unified on the 3rd of October 1990. All 4 powers formally relinquished rights on the 15th of March 1991. Notable earlier dates.
The 10th of August 843. Eastern Francia established from the division of the Carolingian Empire. The 2nd of February 962, crowning of Otto I, recognized as the first Holy Roman Emperor.
National holiday.
German Unity Day, the 3rd of October, 1990.
Constitution.
History.
Previous 1919, Weimar Constitution, latest drafted 23 August 1948. Approved 12 May 1949, promulgated 23 May 1949. Entered into force 24 May 1949.
Amendments.
Proposed by Parliament. Passage and enactment into law require 2/3 majority vote by both the Bundesrat, Upper House, and the Bundestag, Lower House, of Parliament. Articles including those on basic human rights and freedoms cannot be amended. Amended many times, last in 2017.
Legal system.
Civil law system.
International Law Organization participation.
Accepts compulsory ICJ jurisdiction with reservations, accepts ICJ jurisdiction.
Citizenship.
Citizenship by birth.
No.
Citizenship by descent only.
At least one parent must be a German citizen or a resident alien who has lived in Germany at least 8 years.
Dual citizenship recognized.
Yes, but requires prior permission from government.
Residency requirement for naturalization.
8 years.
Suffrage.
18 years of age. Universal. Age 16 for some state and municipal elections.
Executive branch.
Chief of State.
President Frank-Walter Steinmeier, since the 19th of March 2017.
Head of Government.
Chancellor Angela Merkel, since the 22nd of November 2005.
Cabinet.
Cabinet or Bundesminister, federal ministers, recommended by the Chancellor, appointed by the President.
Elections/appointments.
President indirectly elected by a federal convention consisting of all members of the federal parliament, Bundestag, and an equivalent number of delegates indirectly elected by the state parliaments. President serves a 5-year term, eligible for a second term. Election last held on the 12th of February 2017, next to be held in February 2022, following the most recent federal parliament election. The party or coalition with the most representatives usually elects the Chancellor, Angela Merkel, since 2005, and appointed by the President to serve a renewable 4-year term. Federal Parliament vote for Chancellor last held on the 14th of March 2018, next to be held after the Bundestag elections in 2021.
Election results.
Frank-Walter Steinmeier elected President. Federal Convention vote count, Frank-Walter Steinmeier, SPD, 931. Christopher Butterwehr, the Left, 128. Albrecht Glaser, Alternative for Germany IFT, 42. Alexander Holt, BVB/FW, 25. Engelbert Sonneborn, Pirates, 10. Angela Merkel, CDU, re-elected Chancellor. Federal Parliament vote, 364 to 315.
Legislative branch.
Description.
Bicameral parliament or parliament consists of
Federal Council or Bundesrat, 69 seats. Members appointed by each of the 16 state governments.
Federal Diet or Bundestag, 709 seats. Total seats can vary each electoral term. Approximately 1/2 of members directly elected in multi-seat constituencies by proportional representation vote and approximately 1/2 directly elected in single-seat constituencies by simple majority vote. Members serve 4-year terms.
Elections.
Bundesrat, none. Composition is determined by the composition of the state-level governments. The composition of the Bundesrat has the potential to change any time one of the 16 states holds an election.
Bundestag, last held on the 24th of September 2017, next to be held in 2021 at the latest. Most post-war German governments have been coalitions.
Election results.
Bundesrat, composition. Men 50, women 19%, of women 27.5%.
Bundestag percent of vote by party, CDU/CSU 33%, SP 20.5%, AfD 12.6%, 10.7%, the Left 9.2%, Alliance 90/Greens 8.9%, other 5%. Seats by party, CDU/CSU 246. SP 152, AfD 91, 80, the Left 69, Alliance 90/Greens 67. Composition: men 490, women 219%, of women 30.5%. Note: total parliament percent of women 30.5%.
Judicial branch.
Highest courts.
Federal Court of Justice. Court consists of 127 judges, including the court president, vice presidents, presiding judges, other judges, and organized into 25 senates subdivided into 12 civil panels, 5 criminal panels, and 8 special panels. Federal Constitutional Court, or Bundesverfassungsgericht, consists of 2 senates each subdivided into 3 chambers, each with a chairman and 8 members.
Judge selection in term of office.
Federal Court of Justice judges selected by the Judges Election Committee, which consists of the Secretaries of Justice from each of the 16 federated states and 16 members appointed by the federal parliament. Judges appointed by the President. Judges serve until mandatory retirement at age 65. Federal Constitutional Court judges, 1/2 elected by the House of Representatives and 1/2 by the Senate. Judges appointed for 12-year terms with mandatory retirement at age 68.
Subordinate courts.
Federal Administrative Court, Federal Finance Court, Federal Labor Court, Federal Social Court. Each of the 16 federated states or land has its own constitutional court and a hierarchy of ordinary, civil, criminal, family, and specialized, administrative, finance, labor, social, courts.
Political parties and leaders.
Alliance 90/Greens, and Alina Baerbock and Robert Habeck.
Alternative for Germany, or AfD, Alexander Gauland and Jörg Meuthen.
Christian Democratic Union, or CDU, Annegret Kramp-Karrenbauer.
Christian Social Union, or CSU, Markus Söder.
Free Democratic Party, or FDP, Christian Lindner.
The Left, or Die Linke, Katja Kipping and Bernd Rieksiner.
Social Democratic Party, or SPD, Andrea Nahles.
International Organization Participation.
ADB, non-regional member. AfDB, non-regional member. Arctic Council, Observer, Australia Group, BIS, BSEC, Observer, CBSS, CD, CDB, CE, CERN, EAPC, EBRD, ECB, IB, ITI. Implementing Country, EMU, ESA, EU, FAO, FATF, G5, G7, G8, G10, G20, EADP, IAEA, IBRD, ICAO, ICC, National Committees, ICT, ICRM, IDA, IA, IFART, IFC, IFCS, IGARD, Partners, IO, ILO, IMF, IMO, IMSO, Interpol, IOC, IM, IPU, ISO, ITSO, ITU, ITUC, NGOs, MIGA, MINUSO, MINUSMA, NATO, NIA, NSG, OAS, Observer, OECD, OPCW, OS, Pacific Alliance, Observer, Paris Club, PCA, Shenzhen Convention, SELEC, Observer, SICA, Observer, UN, UNAMID, UNCTAD, UNESCO, UNIDO, UNIFIL, UNMISS, UNWA, UNTO, UPU, WCO, WHO, WIPO, WMO, WTO, ZC.
Diplomatic representation in the U.S.
Ambassador Emily Margaret Haber, since the 22nd of June 2018.
Chancery.
4645 Reservoir Road Northwest, Washington, D.C. 20007.
Telephone.
1202-298-4000.
Fax.
1202-298-4249.
Consulate. S. General.
Atlanta, Boston, Chicago, Houston, Los Angeles, Miami, New York, San Francisco.
Diplomatic representation from the U.S.
Chief of Mission.
Ambassador Richard Grenell, since the 8th of May 2018.
Telephone.
49 30 8305 20.
Embassy.
Clio 170 14191 Berlin.
Mailing address.
Clio 170 14191 Berlin.
Fax.
49 30 8305 1215.
Consulates General.
Düsseldorf, Frankfurt am Main, Hamburg, Leipzig, Munich.
Flag description.
3 equal horizontal bands of black, top, red, and gold, These colours have played an important role in German history and can be traced back to the medieval banner of the Holy Roman Emperor, a black eagle with red claws and beak on a gold field.
National symbols. A national symbol is a faunal, floral, or other abstract representation, or some distinctive object, that over time has come to be closely identified with a country or entity. Not all countries have national symbols. A few countries have more than one. National symbols field listing.
Eagle. National colours.
Black, red, yellow.
National anthem: a generally patriotic musical composition, usually in the form of a song or hymn of praise, that evokes and eulogizes the history, traditions, or struggles of a nation or its people. National anthems can be officially recognized as a national song by a country's constitution or by an enacted law, or simply by tradition. Although most anthems contain lyrics, some do not. National anthem field listing.
Name.
Das Lied der Deutschen, Song of the Germans.
Lyrics, music.
August Heinrich Hoffmann von Fallersleben/Franz Joseph Haydn.
Note.
Adopted 1922. The anthem, also known as Deutschlandlied, Song of Germany, was originally adopted for its connection to the March 1848 Liberal Revolution, following appropriation by the Nazis of the first verse, specifically the phrase, Deutschland, Deutschland über alles, Germany, Germany above all, to promote nationalism. It was banned after 1945. In 1952, its third verse was adopted by West Germany as its national anthem. In 1990, it became the national anthem for the reunited Germany.
Economy.
Germany.
Economy. Overview.
The German economy, the fifth largest economy in the world in PPP terms and Europe's largest, is a leading exporter of machinery, vehicles, chemicals, and household equipment. Germany benefits from a highly skilled labor force, but, like its Western European neighbors, faces significant demographic challenges to sustain long-term growth. Low fertility rates and a large increase in net immigration are increasing pressure on the country's social welfare system and necessitate structural reforms.
Reforms launched by the government of Chancellor Gerhard Schroeder, 1998 to 2005, deemed necessary to address chronically high unemployment and low average growth, contributed to strong economic growth and falling unemployment. These advances, as well as a government-subsidized, reduced working hour scheme, help explain the relatively modest increase in unemployment during the 2008-09 recession, the deepest since World War II. The German government introduced a minimum wage in 2015 that increased to $9.79, €8.84, in January 2017.
Stimulus and stabilization efforts initiated in 2008 and 2009 and tax cuts introduced in Chancellor Angela Merkel's second term increased Germany's total budget deficit, including federal, state, and municipal, to 4.1% in 2010. But slower spending and higher tax revenues reduced the deficit to 0.8% in 2011, and in 2017 Germany reached a budget surplus of 0.7%. A constitutional amendment approved in 2009 limits the federal government to structural deficits of no more than 0.35% of GDP per annum as of 2016, though the target was already reached in 2012.
Following the March 2011 Fukushima nuclear disaster, Chancellor Angela Merkel announced in May 2011 that 8 of the country's 17 nuclear reactors would be shut down immediately and the remaining plants would close by 2022. Germany plans to replace nuclear power largely with renewable energy, which accounted for 29.5% of gross electricity consumption in 2016, up from 9% in 2000. Before the shutdown of the 8 reactors, Germany relied on nuclear power for 23% of its electricity generating capacity and 46% of its baseload electricity production.
The German economy suffers from low levels of investment, and the government planned to invest €15 billion during 2016-18, largely in infrastructure, is intended to spur needed private investment. Domestic consumption, investment, and exports are likely to drive German GDP growth in 2018, and the country's budget and trade surpluses are likely to remain high.
GDP, purchasing power parity.
$4.199 trillion.
$4.099 trillion.
$4.012 trillion.
Note.
Data in 2017 dollars.
Country comparison to the world.
5.
GDP. Official exchange rate.
$3.701 trillion.
GDP. Real growth rate.
2.5%.
2.2%.
1.5%.
Country comparison to the world.
128.
GDP. Per capita. PPP.
$50,800.
$49,800.
$49,100.
Note.
Data in 2017 dollars.
Country comparison to the world.
27.
Gross national saving. Gross national saving is derived by deducting final consumption expenditure, household plus government, from gross national disposable income, and consists of personal saving, plus business saving, the sum of the capital consumption allowance and retained business profits, plus government saving, the excess of tax revenues over expenditures, but excludes foreign saving, the excess of imports of goods and services over exports. The figures are presented as a percent of GDP. A negative. More gross national saving field listing.
28% of GDP.
28.2% of GDP.
28.1% of GDP.
Country comparison to the world.
40.
GDP, composition, by end use.
Household consumption.
53.1%.
Government consumption.
19.5%.
Investment in fixed capital.
20.4%.
Investment in inventories.
Minus 0.5%.
Exports of goods and services.
47.3%.
Imports of goods and services.
Minus 39.7%.
GDP composition by sector of origin.
Agriculture.
0.7%.
Industry.
30.7%.
Services.
68.6%.
Agriculture, products.
Potatoes, wheat, barley, sugar beets, fruit, cabbages, milk products, cattle, pigs, poultry.
Industries.
Among the world's largest and most technologically advanced producers of iron, steel, coal, cement, chemicals, machinery, vehicles, machine tools, electronics, automobiles, food and beverages, shipbuilding, textiles.
Industrial production growth rate.
3.3%.
Country comparison to the world.
95.
Labor force.
45.9 million.
Country comparison to the world.
14.
Labor force, by occupation.
Agriculture.
1.4%.
Industry.
24.2%.
Services.
74.3%.
Unemployment rate.
3.8%.
4.2%.
Country comparison to the world.
46.
Population below poverty line. National estimates of the percentage of the population falling below the poverty line are based on surveys of subgroups, with the results weighted by the number of people in each group. Definitions of poverty vary considerably among nations. For example, rich nations generally employ more generous standards of poverty than poor nations. Population below poverty line field listing.
16.7%.
Household income or consumption by percentage. Share data on household income or consumption come from household surveys, the results adjusted for household size. Nations use different standards and procedures in collecting and adjusting the data. Surveys based on income will normally show a more unequal distribution than surveys based on consumption. The quality of surveys is improving with time, yet caution is still necessary in making inter-country comparisons. Household income or consumption by percentage. Share field listing.
Lowest 10%.
3.6%.
Highest 10%.
24%.
Budget.
Revenues.
1.665 trillion.
Expenditures.
1.619 trillion.
Taxes and other revenues.
45% of GDP.
Country comparison to the world.
22.
Budget surplus, plus, or deficit, dash.
1.3% of GDP.
Country comparison to the world.
25.
Public debt.
63.9% of GDP.
67.9% of GDP.
Note:
General government gross debt is defined in the Maastricht Treaty as consolidated general government gross debt at nominal value, outstanding at the end of the year in the following categories of government liabilities, as defined in SR 95.
Currency and deposits, AF.2. Securities other than shares excluding financial derivatives, AF.3, excluding AF.34, and loans, AF.4. The general government sector comprises the subsectors of central government, state government, local government and social security funds. The series are presented as a percentage of GDP in millions of euros. GDP used as a denominator is the gross domestic product at current market prices. Data expressed in national currency are converted into euro using end-of-year exchange rates provided by the European Central Bank.
Country comparison to the world.
61.
Fiscal year.
Calendar year.
Inflation rate. Consumer prices.
1.7%.
0.4%.
Country comparison to the world.
92.
Current account balance.
$291 billion.
$297.5 billion.
Country comparison to the world.
1.
Exports.
$1.434 trillion.
$1.322 trillion.
Country comparison to the world.
3.
Exports. Partners.
US 8.8%, France 8.2%, China 6.8%, Netherlands 6.7%, UK 6.6%, Italy 5.1%, Austria 4.9%, Poland 4.7%, Switzerland 4.2%.
Exports. Commodities.
Motor vehicles, machinery, chemicals, computer and electronic products, electrical equipment, pharmaceuticals, metals, transport equipment, foodstuffs, textiles, rubber and plastic products.
Imports.
$1.135 trillion.
$1.022 trillion.
Country comparison to the world.
3.
Imports, commodities.
Machinery, data processing equipment, vehicles, chemicals, oil and gas, metals, electric equipment, pharmaceuticals, foodstuffs, agricultural products.
Imports, partners.
Netherlands 13.8%, China 7%, France 6.6%, Belgium 5.9%, Italy 5.4%, Poland 5.4%, Czechia 4.8%, US 4.5%, Austria 4.3%, Switzerland 4.2%.
Reserves of foreign exchange and gold.
$200.1 billion.
$173.7 billion.
Country comparison to the world.
13.
Debt external.
$5.326 trillion.
$5.21 trillion.
Country comparison to the world.
4.
Exchange rates.
Euros. EUR. Per US dollar.
0.885.
0.903.
0.9214.
0.885.
0.7634.
Energy.
Germany.
Electricity access.
Electrification, total population.
100%.
Electricity, production.
612.8 billion.
Country comparison to the world.
7.
Electricity, consumption.
536.5 billion.
Country comparison to the world.
6.
Electricity, exports.
78.86 billion.
Country comparison to the world.
1.
Electricity, imports.
28.34 billion.
Country comparison to the world.
5.
Electricity, installed generating capacity.
208.5 million.
Country comparison to the world.
6.
Electricity, from fossil fuels.
41% of total installed capacity.
Country comparison to the world.
166.
Electricity, from nuclear fuels.
5% of total installed capacity.
Country comparison to the world.
21.
Electricity, from hydroelectric plants.
2% of total installed capacity.
Country comparison to the world.
137.
Electricity, from other renewable sources.
52% of total installed capacity.
Country comparison to the world.
4.
Crude oil, production.
41,000 barrels/day.
Country comparison to the world.
56.
Crude oil exports.
6,569 barrels/day.
Country comparison to the world.
63.
Crude oil imports.
1.836 million barrels/day.
Country comparison to the world.
6.
Crude oil proved reserves.
129.6 million barrels.
Country comparison to the world.
65.
Refined petroleum products production.
2.158 million barrels/day.
Country comparison to the world.
9.
Refined petroleum products consumption.
2.46 million barrels/day.
Country comparison to the world.
9.
Refined petroleum products exports.
494,000 barrels/day.
Country comparison to the world.
17.
Refined petroleum products imports.
883,800 barrels/day.
Country comparison to the world.
9.
Natural gas production.
7.9 billion qm.
Country comparison to the world.
45.
Natural gas consumption.
93.36 billion qm.
Country comparison to the world.
8.
Natural gas exports.
34.61 billion qm.
Country comparison to the world.
11.
Natural gas imports.
119.5 billion qm.
Country comparison to the world.
1.
Natural gas proved reserves.
39.5 billion qm.
Country comparison to the world.
64.
Carbon dioxide emissions from consumption of energy.
847.6 million.
Country comparison to the world.
6.
Communications.
Germany.
Telephones, fixed lines.
Total subscriptions.
42.5 million.
Subscriptions per 100 inhabitants.
53.
Country comparison to the world.
4.
Telephones. Mobile cellular.
Total subscriptions.
107.5 million.
Subscriptions per 100 inhabitants.
134.
Country comparison to the world.
15.
Telephone system.
General assessment.
One of the world's most technologically advanced telecommunications systems, as a result of intensive capital expenditures since reunification. The formerly backward system of the eastern part of the country, dating back to World War II, has been modernized and integrated with that of the western part. Universal 3G available infrastructure and LTE networks, penetration in broadband and mobile sectors average for region.
Domestic.
Extensive system of automatic telephone exchanges connected by modern networks of fiber optic cable, coaxial cable, microwave radio relay, and a domestic satellite system. Cellular telephone service is widely available, expanding rapidly, and includes roaming service to many foreign countries. 53 per 100 for fixed line and 134 per 100 for mobile cellular.
International.
Country code 49. Landing points for SeaMeWe 3, TAT14, AC1, Contact 3, Fehmarn Bolt, Sea Lion 1, GC1, Global Connect KPN, and Germany Denmark 2 and 3, submarine cables to Europe, Africa, the Middle East, Asia, Southeast Asia and Australia, as well as Earth stations in the Inmarsat, Intelsat, Eutelsat, and Intersputnik satellite systems. 2019.
Broadcast media.
A mixture of publicly operated and privately owned TV and radio stations. 70 national and regional public broadcasters compete with nearly 400 privately owned national and regional TV stations. More than 90% of households have cable or satellite TV, hundreds of radio stations including multiple national radio networks, regional radio networks, and a large number of local radio stations.
Internet country code.
The
Internet users.
Total
72,365,643.
of population.
89.6%.
Country comparison to the world.
8.
Broadband, fixed subscriptions.
Total
34,174,900.
subscriptions per 100 inhabitants.
42.
Country comparison to the world.
4.
Military and security.
Germany.
Military expenditures.
1.38% of GDP.
1.24% of GDP.
1.23% of GDP.
1.19% of GDP.
1.18% of GDP.
Country comparison to the world.
84.
Military and security forces.
Federal Armed Forces, Bundes.
Army, here. Navy, Deutsche Marine, includes naval air arm. Air Force, Luftwaffe, includes air defense. Joint Support Service. Streitkräfte, SKB. Central Medical Service. Zentrale Sanitätsdienst, SANSBU. Cyber and Information Space Command. Kommando Cyber und Informationsraum, DOCIR, 2019.
Military service age and obligation.
17 to 23 years of age for male and female voluntary military service. Conscription ended the 1st of July 2011. Service obligation 8 to 23 months or 12 years. Women have been eligible for voluntary service in all military branches and positions since 2001.
Transportation.
Germany.
National Air Transport System.
Number of registered air carriers.
20.
Inventory of registered aircraft operated by air carriers.
1,113.
Annual passenger traffic on registered air carriers.
115,540,886.
Annual freight traffic on registered air carriers.
6,985,007,915 Mount km.
Civil aircraft registration country code prefix.
D.
Airports.
539.
Country comparison to the world.
12.
Airports with paved runways.
Total.
318.
Over 3,047 meters.
14.
2,438 to 3,047 meters.
49.
1,524 to 2,437 meters.
60.
914 to 1,523 meters.
70.
Under 914 meters.
125.
Airports, with unpaved runways.
Total.
221.
1,524 to 2,437 m.
1.
914 to 1,523 m.
35.
Under 914 m.
185.
Heliports.
23.
Pipelines.
37 kilometers condensate, 26,985 kilometers gas, 2,400 kilometers oil, 4,479 kilometers refined products, 8 kilometers water.
Railways.
Total.
33,590 kilometers.
Standard gauge.
33,331 kilometers. 1.435 m gauge. 19,973 kilometers electrified.
Narrow gauge.
220 kilometers. 1.000 m gauge. 79 kilometers electrified.
15 kilometers 0.900 meter gauge, 24 kilometers 0.750 meter gauge.
Country comparison to the world.
7.
Roadways.
Total.
625,000 kilometers.
Paved.
625,000 kilometers. Includes 12,996 kilometers of expressways.
Note.
Includes local roads.
Country comparison to the world.
12.
Waterways.
7,467 kilometers. Rhine River carries most goods. Main Danube Canal links North Sea and Black Sea.
Country comparison to the world.
18.
Merchant Marine.
Total.
609.
By type.
Bulk Carrier 1, Container Ship 87, General Cargo 83, Oil Tanker 36, Other 402, 2019.
Country comparison to the world.
38.
Ports and terminals.
Major seaports.
Baltic Sea, Rostock.
Oil terminals.
Brunsbüttel Canal terminals.
Container ports. TES.
Bremen/Bremerhaven, 5,510,000. Hamburg, 8,860,000.
LNG terminals. Import.
Hamburg.
River ports.
Bremen, Weser.
North Sea. Wilhelmshaven, Bremerhaven, Jest, Duisburg, Karlsruhe, Neuss, Düsseldorf, Rhein, Brunsbüttel, Hamburg, Elbe, Lübeck, Wakenitz.
Transnational issues.
Germany.
Disputes. International.
None.
Refugees and internally displaced persons.
Refugees, country of origin.
532,065. Syria, 136,463. Iraq, 126,018. Afghanistan, 55,334. Eritrea, 41,150. Iran, 24,036. Turkey, 23,581. Somalia, 9,155. Serbia and Kosovo, 8,119. Russia, 7,454. Pakistan, 6,453. Nigeria,
Stateless persons.
14,779.
Germany, German, Deutschland, German pronunciation. T. Land, constitutionally the Federal Republic of Germany. German, Bundesrepublik Deutschland. About this sound listen help middle.info. F, is a country in Central and Western Europe. It borders Denmark to the north, Poland and the Czech Republic to the east, Austria and Switzerland to the south, France to the southwest, and Luxembourg, Belgium, and the Netherlands to the west. Germany includes 16 constituent states, covers an area of 357,386 square kilometers, 137,988 square miles, 7, and has a largely temperate seasonal climate. With 83 million inhabitants, it is the second most populous state of Europe after Russia, the most populous state lying entirely in Europe, as well as the most populous member state of the European Union. Germany is a very decentralized country. Its capital and largest metropolis is Berlin, while Frankfurt serves as its financial capital and is the country's busiest airport. Various Germanic tribes have inhabited the northern parts of modern Germany since classical antiquity. A region named Germania was documented before AD 100. Beginning in the 10th century, German territories formed a central part of the Holy Roman Empire. During the 16th century, northern German regions became the center of the Protestant Reformation. After the collapse of the Holy Roman Empire, the German Confederation was formed in 1815. The German revolutions of 1848–49 resulted in the Frankfurt Parliament establishing major democratic rights. In 1871, Germany became a nation-state when most of the German states unified into the Prussian-dominated German Empire. After World War I and the Revolution of 1918–19, the empire was replaced by the Parliamentary Weimar Republic. The Nazi seizure of power in 1933 led to the establishment of a dictatorship, World War II, and the Holocaust. After the end of World War II in Europe and a period of Allied occupation, two new German states were founded, West Germany and East Germany. Following the revolutions of 1989 that ended communist rule in Central and Eastern Europe, the country was reunified on 3 October 1990. 13 Today, Germany is a federal parliamentary republic led by a chancellor. It is a great power with a strong economy. It has the largest economy in Europe, the world's fourth largest economy by nominal GDP, and the fifth largest by PPP. As a global leader in several industrial and technological sectors, it is both the world's third largest exporter and importer of goods. As a highly developed country with a very high standard of living, it offers social security and a universal healthcare system, environmental protections, and a tuition-free university education. The Federal Republic of Germany was a founding member of the European Economic Community in 1957 and the European Union in 1993. It is part of the Schengen area and became a co-founder of the Eurozone in 1999. Germany is also a member of the United Nations, NATO, the G7, the G20, and the OECD. Known for its long and rich cultural history, Germany has continuously been the home of influential people in the arts, sciences and humanities. Germany has many World Heritage Sites and is among the top tourism destinations in the world. Contents: 1. Etymology. 2. History. 2. 1. Germanic tribes and Frankish Empire. 2. 2 East Francia and Holy Roman Empire 2. 3 German Confederation and Empire 2. 4 Weimar Republic and Nazi Germany 2. 5 East and West Germany 2. 6 Reunified Germany and the European Union 3 Geography 3. 1 Climate 3. 2 Biodiversity 4 Politics 4. 1 Constituent States 4. 2 Law 4. 3 Foreign Relations 4. 4 Military 5 Economy 5. 1 Transport 5. 2 Energy and Infrastructure 5. 3 Science and Technology 5. 4 Tourism 6 Demographics 6. 1 Religion 6. 2 Languages 6. 3 Education 6. 4 Health 7 Culture 7. 1 Music 7. 2 Art and Design 7. 3 Literature and Philosophy 7. 4 Media 7. 5 Cuisine 7. 6 Sports 8 See also 9 Notes 10 References 11 Sources 12 External links Etymology Further information Names of Germany, Germany, and Germania. The English word Germany derives from the Latin Germania, which came into use after Julius Caesar adopted it for the peoples east of the Rhine. 14. The German term Deutschland, originally due to EU-Land, the German lands, is derived from Deutsch compare Dutch, descended from Old High German Dutisk of the people from Diot or Diota people, originally used to distinguish the language of the common people from Latin and its Romance descendants. This in turn descends from Proto-Germanic Theutiscas of the people. See also the Latinized form Theodiscus, derived from Theudo, descended from Proto-Indo-European Th2 people, from which the word Teutons also originates. 15 History Main article, History of Germany. The Nebraska Disc, c. *1700 BC. The discovery of the Mel-1 mandible shows that ancient humans were present in Germany at least 600,000 years ago. 16. The oldest complete hunting weapons found anywhere in the world were discovered in a coal mine in Skningen between 1994 and 1998, where 8 380,000-year-old wooden javelins of 1.82 to 2.25 meters 5.97 to 7.38 feet length were unearthed. 17. The Neander Valley was the location where the first ever non-modern human fossil was discovered. The new species of human was called the Neanderthal. The Neanderthal 1 fossils are known to be 40,000 years old. Evidence of modern humans, similarly dated, has been found in caves in the Swabian Jura near Ulm. The finds included 42,000-year-old bird bone and mammoth ivory flutes, which are the oldest musical instruments ever found. 18. The 40,000-year-old Ice Age Lion Man, which is the oldest uncontested figurative art ever discovered. 19. And the 35,000-year-old Venus of Hohlfels, which is the oldest uncontested human figurative art ever discovered. 20. The Nebraska Disc is a bronze artifact created during the European Bronze Age attributed to a site near Nebra, Saxony-Anhalt. It is part of UNESCO's Memory of the World program. 21 Germanic tribes and Frankish Empire. Main articles, Germania, migration period, and Frankish realm. The Germanic tribes are thought to date from the Nordic Bronze Age or the pre-Roman Iron Age. From southern Scandinavia and North Germany, they expanded south, east and west from the 1st century BC, coming into contact with the Celtic tribes of Gaul as well as Iranian, Baltic, and Slavic tribes in Central and Eastern Europe. 22. Under Augustus, Rome began to invade Germania. In 9 AD, 3 Roman legions led by Varus were defeated by the Cheruscan leader Arminius. By 100 AD, when Tacitus wrote Germania, Germanic tribes had settled along the Rhine and the Danube, the Limes Germanicus, occupying most of the area of modern Germany. However, Baden-Württemberg, southern Bavaria, southern Hessen and the western Rhineland had been conquered and incorporated into Roman provinces, Rhaetia, Germania Superior, and Germania Inferior. 23, 24, 25 The Kingdom of East Francia. In 843 in the 3rd century a number of large West Germanic tribes emerged, Alemanni, Franks, Chatti, Saxons, Frey, Sicambri, and Thurinii. Around 260, the Germanic peoples broke into Roman-controlled lands. 26. After the invasion of the Huns in 375, and with the decline of Rome from 395, Germanic tribes moved farther southwest. Simultaneously several large tribes formed in what is now Germany and displaced or absorbed smaller Germanic tribes. Large areas known since the Merovingian period as Austrasia, Neustria, and Aquitaine were conquered by the Franks, who established the Frankish kingdom, and pushed farther east to subjugate Saxony and Bavaria. Areas of what is today the eastern part of Germany were inhabited by Western Slavic tribes of Sorbs, Veltai and the Obotritic Confederation. 23. East Francia and Holy Roman Empire. Main articles. East Francia and Holy Roman Empire. In 800, the Frankish king Charlemagne was crowned emperor and founded the Carolingian Empire, which was later divided in 843 among his heirs. 27. Following the breakup of the Frankish realm, for 900 years, the history of Germany was intertwined with the history of the Holy Roman Empire. 28, which subsequently emerged from the eastern portion of Charlemagne's original empire. The territory initially known as East Francia stretched from the Rhine in the west to the Elbe River in the east and from the North Sea to the Alps. 27. The Ottonian rulers 919 to 1024 consolidated several major duchies, and the German king Otto I was crowned Holy Roman Emperor of these regions in 962. In 996 Gregory V became the first German pope, appointed by his cousin Otto III, whom he shortly after crowned Holy Roman Emperor. The Holy Roman Empire absorbed northern Italy and Burgundy under the reign of the Salian emperors 1024 to 1125, although the emperors lost power through the investiture controversy. 29. Johannes Gutenberg c. (1400 to 1468), inventor of the movable type printing press in the 12th century. Under the Hohenstaufen emperors 1138 to 1254, German princes increased their influence further south and east into territories inhabited by Slavs. They encouraged German settlement in these areas, called the Eastern Settlement Movement Ostsiedlung. Members of the Hanseatic League, which included mostly North German cities and towns, prospered in the expansion of trade. 30. In the south, the Greater Ravensburg Trade Corporation Gross Ravensburger Handelsgesellschaft served a similar function. The Edict of the Golden Bull issued in 1356 by Emperor Charles IV provided the basic constitutional structure of the empire and codified the election of the emperor by 7 prince-electors who ruled some of the most powerful principalities and archbishoprics. 31. Population declined in the first half of the 14th century, starting with the Great Famine in 1315, followed by the Black Death of 1348 to 50. 32. Despite the decline, however, German artists, engineers, and scientists developed a wide array of techniques similar to those used by the Italian artists and designers of the time, who flourished in such merchant city-states as Venice, Florence, and Genoa. Artistic and cultural centers throughout the German states produced such artists as the Augsburg painters Hans Holbein and his son, and Albrecht Dürer. Johannes Gutenberg introduced movable type printing to Europe, a development that laid the basis for the spread of learning to the masses. 33. Martin Luther 1483 to 1546, Protestant reformer in 1517. The Wittenberg priest Martin Luther nailed the 95 Theses to the church door, challenging the practice of selling of indulgences. He was subsequently excommunicated in 1520, and his followers were condemned in the 1521 Diet of Worms, which divided Western Christianity. In 1555, the Peace of Augsburg tolerated the evangelical faith now called Lutheranism as an acceptable alternative to Catholicism, but also decreed that the faith of the prince was to be the faith of his subjects, a principle called cuius regio, jus religio. The agreement at Augsburg failed to address other religious creeds, For example, the Reformed faith was still considered a heresy, and the principle did not address the possible conversion of an ecclesiastic ruler, such as happened in the Electorate of Cologne in 1583. However, in practice Calvinists were given protection under the Augsburg Confession Variata, modified upon request by Philip Melanchthon. From the Cologne War until the end of the 30 Years' Wars 1618 to 1648, religious conflict devastated German lands. 34, the latter reduced the overall population of the German states by about 30%, and in some places, up to 80%. 35. The Peace of Westphalia ended religious warfare among the imperial estates of the Holy Roman Empire. 34. Their mostly German-speaking rulers were able to choose either Roman Catholicism, Lutheranism, or the Reformed faith as their official religion after 1648. 36. In the 18th century, the Holy Roman Empire consisted of approximately 1,800 territories. 37. The elaborate legal system initiated by a series of imperial reforms approximately 1450 to 1555 created the imperial estates and provided for considerable local autonomy among ecclesiastical, secular, and hereditary states, reflected in the imperial diet. The House of Habsburg held the imperial crown from 1438 until the death of Charles VI in 1740, having no male heirs. He had convinced the electors to retain Habsburg hegemony in the office of the emperor by agreeing to the Pragmatic Sanction of 1713. This was finally settled through the War of Austrian Succession. In the Treaty of Aix-la-Chapelle, Charles VI's daughter Maria Theresa ruled the empire as empress consort when her husband, Francis I, became Holy Roman Emperor. From 1740, the dualism between the Austrian Habsburg monarchy and the Kingdom of Prussia dominated German history. In 1772, then again in 1793 and 1795, the two dominant German states of Prussia and Austria, along with the Russian Empire, agreed to the partitions of Poland, dividing among themselves the lands of the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. As a result of the partitions, millions of Polish-speaking inhabitants fell under the rule of the two German monarchies. However, the annexed territories, though incorporated into the Kingdom of Prussia and the Habsburg realm, were not legally considered as a part of the Holy Roman Empire. 38-39, during the period of the French Revolutionary Wars, along with the arrival of the Napoleonic era and the subsequent final meeting of the Imperial Diet, most of the secular free imperial cities were annexed by dynastic territories. The ecclesiastical territories were secularized and annexed. In 1806 the Imperium was dissolved. Many German states, particularly the inland states, fell under the influence of France. Until 1815, France, Russia, Prussia and the Habsburgs Austria competed for hegemony in the German states during the Napoleonic Wars. 40 German Confederation and Empire. Main articles: German Confederation, German Empire, and German Colonial Empire. The German Confederation. In 1815, following the fall of Napoleon, the Congress of Vienna convened in 1814 founded the German Confederation Deutscher Bund, a loose league of 39 sovereign states. The appointment of the Emperor of Austria as the permanent president of the Confederation reflected the Congress's failure to accept Prussia's rising influence among the German states, and abated the long-standing competition between the Hohenzollern and Habsburg interests. Disagreement within Restoration politics partly led to the rise of liberal movements, followed by new measures of repression by Austrian statesman Metternich. Their Zollverein, a tariff union, furthered economic unity in the German states. 41 National and liberal ideals of the French Revolution gained increasing support among many, especially young, Germans. The Hambach Festival in May 1832 was a main event in support of German unity, freedom and democracy. In the light of a series of revolutionary movements in Europe, which established a republic in France, intellectuals and commoners started the revolutions of 1848 in the German states. King Frederick William IV of Prussia was offered the title of emperor, but with a loss of power, he rejected the crown and the proposed constitution, leading to a temporary setback for the movement. 42 Foundation of the German Empire in Versailles, 1871. Bismarck is at the center in a white uniform. King William I appointed Otto von Bismarck as the new Minister-President of Prussia in 1862. Bismarck successfully concluded war on Denmark in 1864, which promoted German over Danish interests in the Jutland Peninsula. The subsequent and decisive Prussian victory in the Austro-Prussian War of 1866 enabled him to create the North German Confederation Norddeutscher Bund, which excluded Austria from the federation's affairs. After the French defeat in the Franco-Prussian War, the German princes proclaimed the founding of the German Empire in 1871 at Versailles. Prussia was the dominant constituent state of the new empire. The Hohenzollern King of Prussia ruled as its concurrent emperor, and Berlin became its capital. 42 In the Grunderzeit period following the unification of Germany, Bismarck's foreign policy as Chancellor of Germany under Emperor William I secured Germany's position as a great nation by forging alliances, isolating France by diplomatic means, and avoiding war. Under Wilhelm II, Germany, like other European powers, took an imperialistic course, leading to friction with neighboring countries. Most alliances in which Germany had previously been involved were not renewed. This resulted in the creation of a dual alliance with the multinational realm of Austria-Hungary, promoting at least benevolent neutrality if not outright military support. Subsequently, the Triple Alliance of 1882 included Italy, completing a Central European geographic alliance that illustrated German, Austrian and Italian fears of incursions against them by France and/or Russia. Similarly, Britain, France and Russia also concluded alliances that would protect them against Habsburg interference with Russian interests in the Balkans or German interference against France. 43 The German Empire in 1914 At the Berlin Conference in 1884, Germany claimed several colonies including German East Africa, German Southwest Africa, Togoland, and Cameroon. 44 Later, Germany further expanded its colonial empire to include German New Guinea, German Micronesia and German Samoa in the Pacific, and Gyeongju Bay in China. In what became known as the first genocide of the 20th century, between 1904 and 1907, the German colonial government in Southwest Africa, present-day Namibia, ordered the annihilation of the local Herero and Namakwa peoples, as a punitive measure for an uprising against German colonial rule. In total, around 100,000 people, 80% of the Herero and 50% of the Namakwa, perished from imprisonment in concentration camps, where the majority died of disease, abuse, and exhaustion, or from dehydration and starvation in the countryside after being deprived of food and water. 45–46 The assassination of Austria's Crown Prince on the 28th of June 1914 provided the pretext for the Austrian Empire to attack Serbia and trigger World War I. After 4 years of warfare, in which approximately 2 million German soldiers were killed, 47, a general armistice ended the fighting on the 11th of November, and German troops returned home. In the German Revolution November 1918, Emperor Wilhelm II and all German ruling princes abdicated their positions and responsibilities. Germany's new political leadership signed the Treaty of Versailles in 1919. In this treaty, Germany, as part of the Central Powers, accepted defeat by the Allies in one of the bloodiest conflicts of all time. Germans perceived the treaty as humiliating and unjust, and it was later seen by historians as influential in the rise of Adolf Hitler. 48–49–50 After the defeat in the First World War, Germany lost around 13% of its European territory, areas which were predominantly inhabited by ethnic Polish, French and Danish populations that were lost following the Greater Poland Uprising, the return of Alsace-Lorraine and the Schleswig plebiscites. Also, Germany ceded all of its colonial possessions in Africa and the South Sea. 51 Weimar Republic and Nazi Germany. Main articles: Weimar Republic and Nazi Germany. Germany was declared a federal republic at the beginning of the German Revolution in November 1918, with 18 federated states in 1925. On the 11th of August 1919, President Friedrich Ebert signed the democratic Weimar Constitution. 52. In the subsequent struggle for power, the radical left communists seized power in Bavaria, but conservative elements in other parts of Germany attempted to overthrow the Republic in the Kapp Putsch. It was supported by parts of the Reichsmilitary and other conservative, nationalistic and monarchist factions. After a tumultuous period of bloody street fighting in the major industrial centers, the occupation of the Ruhr by Belgian and French troops and the rise of inflation culminating in the hyperinflation of 1922-23, a debt restructuring plan and the creation of a new currency in 1924 ushered in the Golden Twenties, an era of increasing artistic innovation and liberal cultural life. Historians describe the period between 1924 and 1929 as one of partial stabilization. 53. Adolf Hitler, leader of Nazi Germany 1933–1945. The worldwide Great Depression hit Germany in 1929. After the federal election of 1930, Chancellor Heinrich Brüning's government was enabled by President Paul von Hindenburg to act without parliamentary approval. Brüning's government pursued a policy of fiscal austerity and deflation which caused high unemployment of nearly 30% by 1932. 54. The Nazi Party led by Adolf Hitler won the special federal election of 1932. After a series of unsuccessful cabinets, Hindenburg appointed Hitler as Chancellor of Germany on 30 January 1933. 55. After the Reichstag fire, a decree abrogated basic civil rights and within weeks the first Nazi concentration camp at Dachau opened. 56–57. The Enabling Act of 1933 gave Hitler unrestricted legislative power. Subsequently, his government established a centralized totalitarian state, withdrew from the League of Nations following a national referendum, and dramatically increased the country's military rearmament. 58. Using deficit spending, a government-sponsored program for economic renewal focused on public works projects. The most famous of the projects was the high-speed roadway, the Reichsautobahn, known as the German Autobahns. 59. In 1935, the regime withdrew from the Treaty of Versailles and introduced the Nuremberg laws which targeted Jews and other minorities. Germany also reacquired control of the Saar in 1935. 60. Remilitarized the Rhineland in 1936, annexed Austria in 1938, annexed the Sudetenland in 1938 with the Munich Agreement, and in direct violation of the agreement occupied Czechoslovakia with the proclamation of the Protectorate of Bohemia and Moravia in March 1939. Kristallnacht, or the Night of Broken Glass, saw the burning of hundreds of synagogues, the destruction of thousands of Jewish businesses, and the arrest of around 30,000 Jewish men by Nazi forces inside Germany. Many Jewish women were arrested and placed in jails, and a curfew was placed on the Jewish people in Germany. 61. World War II. German occupied Europe in 1942. In August 1939, Hitler's government negotiated and signed the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact that divided Eastern Europe into German and Soviet spheres of influence. Following the agreement, on 1 September 1939, Germany invaded Poland, marking the beginning of World War II in Europe. 62. In response to Hitler's actions, 2 days later, on 3 September, after a British ultimatum to Germany to cease military operations was ignored, Britain and France declared war on Germany. 63. In the spring of 1940, Germany conquered Denmark and Norway, the Netherlands, Belgium, Luxembourg, and France, forcing the French government to sign an armistice after German troops occupied most of the country. The British repelled German air attacks in the Battle of Britain in the same year. In 1941, German troops invaded Yugoslavia, Greece and the Soviet Union. By 1942, Germany and other Axis powers controlled most of continental Europe and North Africa, but following the Soviet Union's victory at the Battle of Stalingrad, the Allies' reconquest of North Africa and invasion of Italy in 1943, German forces suffered repeated military defeats. 62. In June 1944, the Western Allies landed in France and the Soviets pushed into Eastern Europe. By late 1944, the Western Allies had entered Germany despite one final German counter-offensive in the Ardennes Forest. Following Hitler's suicide during the Battle of Berlin, German armed forces surrendered on 8 May 1945, ending World War II in Europe. 64. After World War II, high-ranking officials of the Nazi regime were tried for war crimes at the Nuremberg trials. 65–66. In what later became known as the Holocaust, the German government persecuted minorities and used a network of concentration and death camps across Europe to conduct a genocide of what they considered to be inferior peoples. In total 17 million were systematically murdered, including 6 million Jews. At least 130,000 Romani, 275,000 persons with disabilities, thousands of Jehovah's Witnesses, thousands of homosexuals, and hundreds of thousands of members of the political and religious opposition from Germany and occupied countries. 67. Nazi policies in German-occupied countries resulted in the deaths of 2.7 million Poles, 68, 1.3 million Ukrainians, 1 million Belarusians 69, and an estimated 3.5 million Soviet war prisoners. 69–65, German military war casualties have been estimated at 5.3 million, 70, and around 900,000 German civilians died, 400,000 from Allied bombing, and 500,000 in the course of the Soviet invasion from the east. 71. Strategic bombing and land warfare destroyed many German cities and towns. Around 12 million ethnic Germans were expelled from across Eastern Europe, and Germany lost roughly 1/4 of its pre-war territory. 13. East and West Germany. Main article, History of Germany 1945–1990. American, Soviet, British, and French occupation zones in Germany and the French-controlled Saar Protectorate, 1947. Territories east of the Oder-Neisse line were transferred to Poland and the Soviet Union under the terms of the Potsdam Conference. After Nazi Germany surrendered, the Allies partitioned Berlin and Germany's remaining territory into 4 military occupation zones. The western sectors, controlled by France, the United Kingdom, and the United States, were merged on 23 May 1949 to form the Federal Republic of Germany Bundesrepublik Deutschland BRD. On 7 October 1949, the Soviet zone became the German Democratic Republic Deutsche Demokratische Republik DDR. They were informally known as West Germany and East Germany. East Germany selected East Berlin as its capital, while West Germany chose Bonn as a provisional capital, to emphasize its stance that the two-state solution was an artificial and temporary status quo. 72. West Germany was established as a federal parliamentary republic with a social market economy. Starting in 1948, West Germany became a major recipient of Reconstruction aid under the Marshall Plan and used this to rebuild its industry. 73. Konrad Adenauer was elected the first federal chancellor Bundeskanzler of Germany in 1949 and remained in office until 1963. Under his and Ludwig Erhard's leadership, the country enjoyed prolonged economic growth beginning in the early 1950s, that became known as an economic miracle Wirtschaftswunder. 74. The Federal Republic of Germany joined NATO in 1955 and was a founding member of the European Economic Community in 1957. The Berlin Wall during its fall in 1989, with the Brandenburg Gate in the background. East Germany was an Eastern Bloc state under political and military control by the USSR via occupation forces and the Warsaw Pact. Although East Germany claimed to be a democracy, political power was exercised solely by leading members Politburo of the communist-controlled Socialist Unity Party of Germany, supported by the Stasi, an immense secret service controlling many aspects of the society. 75. While East German propaganda was based on the benefits of the GDR's social programs and the alleged constant threat of a West German invasion, many of its citizens looked to the West for freedom and prosperity. 76. The Berlin Wall, rapidly built on 13 August 1961, prevented East German citizens from escaping to West Germany, eventually becoming a symbol of the Cold War. 4277, Ronald Reagan's Tear Down This Wall speech at the wall on the 12th of June 1987 echoed John F. Kennedy's Ich bin ein Berliner speech of the 26th of June 1963. The fall of the wall in 1989 became a symbol of the fall of communism, the dissolution of the Soviet Union, German reunification, and Die Wende. 78 tensions between East and West Germany were reduced in the early 1970s by Chancellor Willy Brandt's Ostpolitik. In the summer of 1989, Hungary decided to dismantle the Iron Curtain and open its border with Austria, causing the emigration of thousands of East Germans to West Germany via Hungary and Austria. This had devastating effects on the GDR, where regular mass demonstrations received increasing support. The East German authorities eased the border restrictions, allowing East German citizens to travel to the West. Originally intended to help retain East Germany as a state, the opening of the border actually led to an acceleration of the Wende reform process. This culminated in the 2+4 Treaty a year later on the 12th of September 1990, under which the four occupying powers renounced their rights under the instrument of surrender, and Germany regained full sovereignty. This permitted German reunification on the 3rd of October 1990, with the accession of the 5 re-established states of the former GDR. 42 reunified Germany and the European Union. Main articles: German reunification and history of Germany since 1990. Since 1999, the Reichstag building in Berlin has been the meeting place of the Bundestag, the German parliament. The United Germany is considered to be the enlarged continuation of West Germany and not a successor state. As such, it retained all of West Germany's memberships in international organizations. 79. Based on the Berlin-Bonn Act, adopted in 1994, Berlin once again became the capital of the reunified Germany, while Bonn obtained the unique status of a Bundesstaat federal city retaining some federal ministries. 80. The relocation of the government was completed in 1999. 81. Following the 1998 elections, SPD politician Gerhard Schroeder became the first chancellor of a red-green coalition with the Alliance 90/the Greens Party. Among the major projects of the two Schroeder legislatures was the Agenda 2010 to reform the labor market to become more flexible and reduce unemployment. The modernization and integration of the Eastern German economy is a long-term process that was scheduled to last until 2019. With annual transfers from West to East amounting to roughly $80 billion. 82. Germany became a co-founder of the European Union 1993, introduced the euro currency 2002, and signed the Lisbon Treaty in 2007. Pictured. Since reunification, Germany has taken a more active role in the European Union. Together with its European partners, Germany signed the Maastricht Treaty in 1992. Established the Eurozone in 1999, and signed the Lisbon Treaty in 2007. 83. Germany sent a peacekeeping force to secure stability in the Balkans and sent a force of German troops to Afghanistan as part of a NATO effort to provide security in that country after the ousting of the Taliban. 84. These deployments were controversial since Germany is bound by domestic law only to deploy troops for defense roles. 85. In the 2005 elections, Angela Merkel became the first female chancellor of Germany as the leader of a grand coalition. 42. In 2009 the German government approved a €50 billion economic stimulus plan to protect several sectors from a downturn. 86. Also in 2009, a liberal-conservative coalition under Merkel assumed leadership of the country. In 2013, a grand coalition was established in a third Merkel cabinet. Among the major German political projects of the early 21st century are the advancement of European integration, the energy transition agenda for a sustainable energy supply, the debt brake for balanced budgets, measures to increase the fertility rate, significantly pronatalism, and high-tech strategies for the future transition of the German economy, summarized as Industry 4.0. 87 Germany was affected by the European migrant crisis in 2015 as it became the final destination of choice for many asylum seekers from Africa and the Middle East entering the EU. The country took in over 1 million refugees and migrants and developed a quota system which redistributed migrants around its federal states based on their tax income and existing population density. 88 Geography Main article, Geography of Germany. Physical map of Germany. Germany is in Western and Central Europe, bordering Denmark to the north, Poland and the Czech Republic to the east, Austria to the southeast, and Switzerland to the south-southwest. France, Luxembourg and Belgium are situated to the west, with the Netherlands to the northwest. It lies mostly between latitudes 47 degrees and 55 degrees north and longitudes 5 degrees and 16 degrees east. Germany is also bordered by the North Sea and, at the north-northeast, by the Baltic Sea. German territory covers 357,021 square kilometers, 137,847 square miles, consisting of 349,223 square kilometers, 134,836 square miles of land and 7,798 square kilometers, 3,011 square miles of water. It is the 7th largest country by area in Europe and the 64th largest in the world. 89 Elevation ranges from the mountains of the Alps. Highest point, there's Zugspitze at 2,962 meters or 9,718 feet in the south to the shores of the North Sea in the northwest and the Baltic Sea Ostsee in the northeast. The forested uplands of central Germany and the lowlands of northern Germany. Lowest point, Wilstermarsch at 354 meters or 11.6 feet below sea level, are traversed by such major rivers as the Rhine, Danube, and Elbe. Germany's alpine glaciers are experiencing deglaciation. Significant natural resources include iron ore, coal, potash, timber, lignite, uranium, copper, natural gas, salt, nickel, arable land and water. 89. Germany has a number of large cities. There are 11 officially recognized metropolitan regions. Largest cities or towns in Germany. Statistical offices in Germany. The 31st of December 2018. Rank name state pop. Rank name state pop. Berlin Hamburg 1 Berlin 3,644,826 11 Bremen State 569,352 Munich Cologne 2 Hamburg 1,841,179 12 Dresden Saxony 554,6,493 Munich Bavaria 1,471,508 13 Hanover Lower Saxony 538,684 Cologne North Rhine-Westphalia 1,085,664 14 Nuremberg Bavaria 518,3655 Frankfurt Hesse 753,056 15 Duisburg North Rhine-Westphalia 498,5906 Stuttgart Baden-Württemberg 634,830 16 Bochum North Rhine-Westphalia 364,6287 Düsseldorf North Rhine-Westphalia 619,294 17 Wuppertal North Rhine-Westphalia 354,3828 Leipzig Saxony 587,857 18 Bielefeld North Rhine-Westphalia 333,7869 Dortmund North Rhine-Westphalia 587,010 19 Bonn North Rhine-Westphalia 327,2581 Essen North Rhine-Westphalia 583,109 20 Munster North Rhine-Westphalia 314,319 Climate The Rhine Valley during summer at Loreley. Most of Germany has a temperate seasonal climate dominated by humid westerly winds. The country is situated in between the oceanic Western European and the continental Eastern European climate. The climate is moderated by the North Atlantic Drift, the northern extension of the Gulf Stream. This warmer water affects the areas bordering the North Sea. Consequently, in the northwest and the north the climate is oceanic. Germany gets an average of 789 mm 31 in of precipitation per year. There is no consistent dry season. Winters are cool and summers tend to be warm. Temperatures can exceed 30 degrees Celsius (86 degrees Fahrenheit). 90. The East has a more continental climate. Winters can be very cold and summers very warm, and longer dry periods can occur. Central and southern Germany are transition regions which vary from moderately oceanic to continental. In addition to the maritime and continental climates are predominant in most of the country. The alpine regions in the extreme south and, to a lesser degree, some areas of the central German uplands have a mountain climate, with lower temperatures and more precipitation. 90. Biodiversity. Berchtesgaden National Park was designated a UNESCO Biosphere Reserve in 1990. The territory of Germany can be divided into two ecoregions: European Mediterranean montane mixed forests and Northeast Atlantic shelf marine. 91. As of 2016, 51% of Germany's land area is devoted to agriculture, while 30% is forested and 14% is covered by settlements or infrastructure. 92. Plants and animals include those generally common to Central Europe. Beeches, oaks, and other deciduous trees constitute 1/3 of the forests. Conifers are increasing as a result of reforestation. Spruce and fir trees predominate in the upper mountains, while pine and larch are found in sandy soil. There are many species of ferns, flowers, fungi, and mosses. Wild animals include roe deer, wild boar, mouflon, a subspecies of wild sheep, fox, badger, hare, and small numbers of the Eurasian beaver. 93. The blue cornflower was once a German national symbol. 94. The 16 national parks in Germany include the Jasmund National Park, the Vorpommern Lagoon Area National Park, the Müritz National Park, the Wadensee National Parks, the Harz National Park, the Hainich National Park, the Black Forest National Park, the Saxon-Switzerland National Park, the Bavarian Forest National Park and the Berchtesgaden National Park. In addition, there are 15 biosphere reserves and 98 nature parks. More than 400 zoos and animal parks operate in Germany. 95. The Berlin Zoo, which opened in 1844, is the oldest in Germany, and claims the most comprehensive collection of species in the world. 96. Politics. Main articles: Politics of Germany, Taxation in Germany, and Federal Budget of Germany. Frank-Walter Steinmeier, 2018. Cropped. JPG Besuch Bundeskanzlerin Angela Merkel M. Rathaus Kolno 9916. JPG Frank-Walter Steinmeier President since 2017. Angela Merkel Chancellor since 2005. Germany is a federal, parliamentary, representative democratic republic. Federal legislative power is vested in the parliament consisting of the Bundestag, Federal Diet and Bundesrat Federal Council, which together form the legislative body. The Bundestag is elected through direct elections, by proportional representation mixed member. 89. The members of the Bundesrat represent the governments of the 16 federated states and are members of the state cabinets. 42. The German political system operates under a framework laid out in the 1949 constitution known as the Grundgesetz Basic Law. Amendments generally require a 2/3 majority of both the Bundestag and the Bundesrat. The fundamental principles of the Constitution, as expressed in the articles guaranteeing human dignity, the separation of powers, the federal structure, and the rule of law, are valid in perpetuity. 97. The President, Frank-Walter Steinmeier, the 19th of March 2017, present, is the head of state and invested primarily with representative responsibilities and powers. He is elected by the Bundesversammlung Federal Convention, an institution consisting of the members of the Bundestag and an equal number of state delegates. The second highest official in the German order of precedence is the Bundestagspräsident, President of the Bundestag, who is elected by the Bundestag and responsible for overseeing the daily sessions of the body. The third highest official and the head of government is the Chancellor, who is appointed by the Bundespräsident after being elected by the Bundestag. 42. The Chancellor, Angela Merkel 2005 present, is the head of government and exercises executive power through their cabinet, similar to the role of a prime minister in other parliamentary democracies. Since 1949, the party system has been dominated by the Christian Democratic Union and the Social Democratic Party of Germany. So far every chancellor has been a member of one of these parties. However, the smaller Liberal Free Democratic Party in Parliament from 1949 to 2013 and again since 2017 and the Alliance 90/the Greens in Parliament since 1983 have also played important roles. 98. Since 2005, the left-wing populist party The Left has been a staple in the German Bundestag. Though they have never been part of the federal government, in the 2017 German federal election, the right-wing populist Alternative for Germany gained enough votes to attain representation in the parliament for the first time. The debt-to-GDP ratio of Germany had its peak in 2010 when it stood at 83% and has decreased since then. 99. According to Eurostat, the government gross debt of Germany amounted to €2,152. 0 billion or 71.9% of its GDP in 2015. 100. By 2019, public debt had fallen further to under 60% of GDP. 101. The federal government achieved a budget surplus of €12. $1 billion $13. $1 billion in 2015. 102, and continued to produce budget surpluses in 2016, 2017 and 2018. 103. Germany's credit rating by credit rating agencies Standard & Poor's, Moody's and Fitch Ratings stands at the highest possible rating AAA with a stable outlook in 2016. 104. Constituent states. Main article, States of Germany. Germany comprises 16 federal states which are collectively referred to as Bundesländer. 100. Law of Germany, Judiciary of Germany, and law enforcement in Germany. Judges of the Bundesverfassungsgericht Federal Constitutional Court in Karlsruhe in 1989. Germany has a civil law system based on Roman law with some references to Germanic law. The Bundesverfassungsgericht Federal Constitutional Court is the German Supreme Court responsible for constitutional matters, with power of judicial review. 42. 110. Germany's Supreme Court system, called Oberstgerichtshof des Bundes, is specialized. For civil and criminal cases, the highest court of appeal is the Inquisitorial Federal Court of Justice, and for other affairs the courts are the Federal Labor Court, the Federal Social Court, the Federal Finance Court and the Federal Administrative Court. Criminal and private laws are codified on the national level in the Strafgesetzbuch and the Bürgerliches Gesetzbuch respectively. The German penal system seeks the rehabilitation of the criminal and the protection of the public. 111, except for petty crimes, which are tried before a single professional judge, and serious political crimes, all charges are tried before mixed tribunals on which lay judges often sit side by side with professional judges. 112. 113. Many of the fundamental matters of administrative law remain in the jurisdiction of the states. Germany has a low murder rate with 0.9 murders per 100,000 in 2014. 114. In 2018, the overall crime rate fell to its lowest since 1992. 115. Foreign relations. Main article, Foreign relations of Germany. Germany hosted the G20 summit in Hamburg, 7–8 July 2017. Germany has a network of 227 diplomatic missions abroad, 116, and maintains relations with more than 190 countries. 117. Germany is a member of NATO, the OECD, the G8, the G20, the World Bank and the IMF. It has played an influential role in the European Union since its inception and has maintained a strong alliance with France and all neighboring countries since 1990. Germany promotes the creation of a more unified European political, economic and security apparatus. 119. The governments of Germany and the United States are close political allies. 42. Cultural ties and economic interests have crafted a bond between the two countries resulting in Atlanticism. 120. The development policy of Germany is an independent area of foreign policy. It is formulated by the Federal Ministry for Economic Cooperation and Development and carried out by the implementing organizations. The German government sees development policy as a joint responsibility of the international community. 121. It was the world's third biggest aid donor in 2009 after the United States and France. 122. 123. Military main article, Bund is Germany's military. The Bund is organized into Heer Army and Special Forces KSK, Marine Navy, Luftwaffe Air Force. Bund is Joint Medical Service and Streitkräftebasis Joint Support Service branches. In absolute terms, German military expenditure is the 8th highest in the world. 124. In 2018, military spending was at $49.5 billion, about 1.2% of the country's GDP. Well below the NATO target of 2%. 125. A German Navy Brandenburg-class frigate. As of 2017, the Bundes employed roughly 178,000 service members, including about 9,000 volunteers. 126. Reservists are available to the armed forces and participate in defense exercises and deployments abroad. 127. Since 2001, women may serve in all functions of service without restriction. 128. According to SAPRI, Germany was the fourth largest exporter of major arms in the world from 2014 to 2018. 129. In peacetime, the Bundeswehr is commanded by the Minister of Defense. In state of defense, the Chancellor would become Commander-in-Chief of the Bundeswehr. 130. The role of the Bundeswehr is described in the Constitution of Germany as defensive only. But after a ruling of the Federal Constitutional Court in 1994, the term defense has been defined to not only include protection of the borders of Germany, but also crisis reaction and conflict prevention, or more broadly as guarding the security of Germany anywhere in the world. As of 2017, the German military has about 3,600 troops stationed in foreign countries as part of international peacekeeping forces, including about 1,200 supporting operations against Daesh, 980 in the NATO-led Resolute Support Mission in Afghanistan, and 800 in Kosovo. 131. Until 2011, military service was compulsory for men at age 18, and conscripts served 6-month tours of duty. Conscientious objectors could instead opt for an equal length of Zivildienst civilian service, or a 6-year commitment to voluntary emergency services like a fire department or the Red Cross. In 2011, conscription was officially suspended and replaced with a voluntary service. 132. 133. Economy main article, Economy of Germany. Frankfurt is a leading business center in Europe and the seat of the ECB. Germany has a social market economy with a highly skilled labor force, a large capital stock, a low level of corruption. 134. And a high level of innovation. 135. It is the world's third largest exporter of goods. 89. And has the largest national economy in Europe, which is also the world's fourth largest by nominal GDP. 136. And the fifth one by PPP. 137. The service sector contributes approximately 71% of the total GDP, including information technology, industry 28%, and agriculture 1%. 89. The unemployment rate published by Eurostat amounts to 4.7% in January 2015, which is the lowest rate of all 27 EU member states. 138. With 1%. Germany also has the lowest youth unemployment rate of all EU member states. 138. According to the OECD, Germany has one of the highest labor productivity levels in the world. 139. Germany is part of the European single market, which represents more than 508 million consumers. Several domestic commercial policies are determined by agreements among European Union EU members and by EU legislation. Germany introduced the common European currency, the euro, in 2002. 141. It is a member of the Eurozone, which represents around 340 million citizens. Its monetary policy is set by the European Central Bank, which is headquartered in Frankfurt. Being home to the modern car, the automotive industry in Germany is regarded as one of the most competitive and innovative in the world. 142. And is the fourth largest by production. 143. The top 10 exports of Germany are vehicles, machinery, chemical goods, electronic products, electrical equipments, pharmaceuticals, transport equipments, basic metals, food products, and rubber and plastics. 144 of the world's 500 largest stock market listed companies measured by revenue in 2014, the Fortune Global 500, 28 are headquartered in Germany. 30 major Germany-based companies are included in the DAX, the prime German stock market index, which is operated by Frankfurt Stock Exchange of Deutsche Börse. Well-known international brands include Mercedes-Benz, BMW, SAP, Volkswagen, Audi, Siemens, Allianz, Adidas, Porsche, Deutsche Bahn, Deutsche Bank, Bosch, and Babelsberg. 145. Germany is recognized for its large portion of specialized small and medium enterprises, known as the Mittelstand model. More than 1,000 of these companies are global market leaders in their segment and are labeled hidden champions. 146. Berlin developed a thriving, cosmopolitan hub for startup companies and became the leading location for venture capital-funded firms in the European Union. 147. The list includes the largest German companies by revenue in 2015. 148. Germany is part of a monetary union, the Eurozone dark blue, and of the EU single market. Rank name headquarters Renewable, Euro profitable, Euro employees world 1. Volkswagen Wolfsburg 237-1. 5610,0002. Daimler Stuttgart 166-9. 3284,0003 E. On Essen 129-7. 856,5004. Allianz Munich 123-7. 3142,5005. BMW Munich 102-7. 122,0006. Siemens Berlin, Munich 88-8. 348,0007. Robert Bosch Stuttgart 78-3. 5375,0008. Bas Ludwigshafen 78-4. 4108,0009. Deutsche Telekom Bonn 77-3. 6226,0010. Metro Düsseldorf 71-0. 8204,00. Transport main articles, Transport in Germany and Rail Transport in Germany and ICE 3 on the Cologne-Frankfurt high-speed rail line. With its central position in Europe, Germany is a transport hub for the continent. 149. Like its neighbors in Western Europe, Germany's road network is among the densest in the world. 150. The motorway Autobahn network ranks as the third largest worldwide in length. Germany has established a polycentric network of high-speed trains. The Intercity Express or ICE network of the Deutsche Bahn serves major German cities as well as destinations in neighboring countries with speeds up to 300 km per hour, 190 miles per hour. 151. The German railways are subsidized by the government, receiving €17 0 billion in 2014. 152. The largest German airports are Frankfurt Airport and Munich Airport, both hubs of Lufthansa. Other major airports include Berlin-Tegel, Düsseldorf, Berlin-Schinnefeld, Hamburg, Cologne, Bonn and Leipzig. Halle. 153. The Port of Hamburg is one of the top 20 largest container ports in the world. 154. Energy and infrastructure. Main articles: energy in Germany, telecommunications in Germany, and water supply and sanitation in Germany in 2015. Germany was the world's 7th largest consumer of energy. 155. In 2014, energy sources were oil 35.0%, coal, including lignite 24.6%, natural gas 20.5%, nuclear 8.1%, hydroelectric and renewable sources 11.1%. 156. The government and the nuclear power industry agreed to phase out all nuclear power plants by 2021. 157. It also enforces energy conservation, green technologies, emission reduction activities. 158, and aims to meet the country's electricity demands using 40% renewable sources by 2020. Germany is committed to the Paris Agreement and several other treaties promoting biodiversity, low emission standards, water management, and the renewable energy commercialization. 159. The country's household recycling rate is among the highest in the world, at around 65%. 160. Nevertheless, the country's total greenhouse gas emissions were the highest in the EU in 2017. 161. The German energy transition agenda is the recognized move to a sustainable economy by means of energy efficiency and renewable energy. 162. Science and technology. Main article: Science and technology in Germany. See also, list of German inventors and discoverers and list of German inventions and discoveries. Albert Einstein, physicist. The Nobel Prize has been awarded to 108 German laureates. Germany is a global leader in science and technology as its achievements in the fields of science and technology have been significant. Research and development efforts form an integral part of the economy. 163. The Nobel Prize has been awarded to 108 German laureates. 164. It produces the second highest number of graduates in science and engineering, 31% after South Korea. 165 notable German physicists before the 20th century include Hermann von Helmholtz, Joseph von Fraunhofer and Gabriel Daniel Fahrenheit, among others. Albert Einstein introduced the special relativity and general relativity theories for light and gravity in 1905 and 1915 respectively. Along with Max Planck, he was instrumental in the introduction of quantum mechanics, in which Werner Heisenberg and Max Born later made major contributions. 166. Wilhelm Röntgen discovered X-rays. 167. Otto Hahn was a pioneer in the fields of radiochemistry and discovered nuclear fission, while Ferdinand Kohn and Robert Koch were founders of microbiology. Numerous mathematicians were born in Germany, including Carl Friedrich Gauss, David Hilbert, Bernhard Riemann, Gottfried Leibniz, Karl Weierstrass, Hermann Weyl, Felix Klein, and Emmy Noether. The European Space Operations Center ESOC in Darmstadt, Germany has been the home of many famous inventors and engineers, including Hans Geiger, the creator of the Geiger counter, and Konrad Zuse, who built the first fully automatic digital computer. 168. Such German inventors, engineers and industrialists as Count Ferdinand von Zeppelin. 169. Otto Lilienthal, Gottlieb Daimler, Rudolf Diesel, Hugo Junkers and Carl Benz helped shape modern automotive and air transportation technology. German institutions like the German Aerospace Center DLR are the largest contributor to ESA. Aerospace engineer Wernher von Braun developed the first space rocket at Peenemünde and later on was a prominent member of NASA and developed the Saturn V moon rocket. Heinrich Rudolf Hertz's work in the domain of electromagnetic radiation was pivotal to the development of modern telecommunication. 170 research institutions in Germany include the Max Planck Society, the Helmholtz Association, the Fraunhofer Society and the Leibniz Association. The Wendelstein 7X in Greifswald hosts a facility in the research of fusion power, for instance. 171. The Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz Prize is granted to 10 scientists and academics every year, with a maximum of €2. 5 million per award. It is one of the highest endowed research prizes in the world. 172. Tourism. Main article: Tourism in Germany. Neuschwanstein Castle in Bavaria, Germany is the 7th most visited country in the world. 173. With a total of 407 million overnights during 2012. 174. This number includes 83 million nights by foreign visitors. In 2012, over 34 million international tourists arrived in Germany. Berlin has become the 3rd most visited city destination in Europe. 175. Additionally, more than 30% of Germans spend their holiday in their own country, with the biggest share going to Mecklenburg-Vorpommern. Domestic and international travel and tourism combined directly contribute over €43. 2 billion to German GDP. Including indirect and induced impacts, the industry contributes 4.5% of German GDP and supports 2 million jobs for 8% of total employment. 176. Germany's most visited and popular landmarks include Neuschwanstein Castle, Cologne Cathedral, the Brandenburg Gate, the Reichstag, Hofbräuhaus Munich, Heidelberg Castle, Dresden's Wiener, Fernsehturm, the Walhalla Memorial, and Aachen Cathedral. The Europa Park near Freiburg is Europe's 2nd most popular theme park resort. 177. Demographics. Main articles: Demographics of Germany and Germans with a population of 82 million according to the 2011 census. 178, rising to 83 million as of 2018. 8. Germany is the most populous country in the European Union, the 2nd most populous country in Europe after Russia, and the 19th most populous country in the world. Its population density stands at 227 inhabitants per square kilometre, 588 per square mile. The overall life expectancy in Germany at birth is 19 years 77. 93 years for males and 58 years for females. 89. The fertility rate of 1.41 children born per woman. 2011 estimates, below the replacement rate of 2.1, it remains considerably below the high of 5.28 children born per woman in 1884, 179, or 8.33 births per 1,000 inhabitants, is one of the lowest fertility rates in the world. 89. Since the 1970s, Germany's death rate has exceeded its birth rate. 180. However, Germany is witnessing increased birth rates and migration rates since the beginning of the 2010s. 181. Particularly a rise in the number of well-educated migrants. 182. 183. Germany has the 3rd oldest population in the world, with the average age of 47.4 years. 89. 4 sizable groups of people are referred to as national minorities because their ancestors have lived in their respective regions for centuries. 184. There is a Danish minority, about 50,000, in the northernmost state of Schleswig-Holstein. 184. The Sorbs, a Slavic population of about 60,000, are in the Lusatia region of Saxony and Brandenburg. The Roma and Sinti live throughout the country, and the Frisians are concentrated in Schleswig-Holstein's western coast and in the northwestern part of Lower Saxony. 184. Germany is home to the 2nd highest number of international migrants. 185. After the United States, Germany is the 2nd most popular immigration destination in the world. 186. 187. The majority of migrants live in Western Germany, in particular in urban areas. 189 of the country's residents, 18.6 million people 22.5% were of immigrant or partially immigrant descent in 2016, including persons descending or partially descending from ethnic German repatriates. 190, in 2015. The Population Division of the United Nations Department of Economic and Social Affairs listed Germany as host to the second highest number of international migrants worldwide, about 5% or 12 million of all 244 million migrants. 191, Germany ranks 7th amongst EU countries and 37th globally in terms of the percentage of migrants who made up part of the country's population. As of 2014, the largest national group was from Turkey 2,859,000, followed by Poland 1,617,000, Russia 1,188,000, and Italy 764,000. 192, 740,000 people have African origins, an increase of 46% since 2011. 190, since 1987, around 3 million ethnic Germans, mostly from the former Eastern Bloc countries, have exercised their right of return and emigrated to Germany. 193 Religion. Main article, Religion in Germany. Upon its establishment in 1871, Germany was about 2/3 Protestant and 1/3 Roman Catholic, with a notable Jewish minority. Germany lost nearly all of its Jewish minority during the Holocaust. After World War II, West Germany became more religiously diversified through immigration, and East Germany became overwhelmingly irreligious through state policies. Germany continued to diversify after the German reunification in 1990, with a substantial decline in religiosity throughout Germany but an increase in evangelical Protestants and Muslims. 194 Dresden Frauenkirche. Evangelical Cologne Cathedral. Roman Catholic Protestantism is concentrated in the northern, central and eastern parts of the country. These are mostly members of the Evangelical Church in Germany (EKD), which encompasses Lutheran, Reformed and administrative or confessional unions of both traditions dating back to the Prussian Union of 1817. The 2011 German census showed Christianity as the largest religion in Germany, with 66.8% identified themselves as Christian, with 3.8% of those not being church members. 195, 31.7% declared themselves as Protestants, including members of the Evangelical Church in Germany 30.8% and the Free Churches German, Evangelis Freie Kirchen 0.9%, 31.2% declared themselves as Roman Catholics. Orthodox believers constituted 1.3%. According to data from 2016, the Catholic Church and the Evangelical Church claimed 28.5% and 27.5%, respectively, of the population. 196 197. Both large churches have lost significant numbers of adherents in recent years. Islam is the second largest religion in the country. 198. In the 2011 census, 1.9% of the census population 1.52 million people gave their religion as Islam, but this figure is deemed unreliable because a disproportionate number of adherents of this religion and other religions, such as Judaism, are likely to have made use of their right not to answer the question. 199. Figures from Religionswissenschaftliche Medien und Informationsdienst suggest a figure of 4 to 4.7 million, around 5% of the population in 2015. 5. Most of the Muslims are Sunnis and Alevites from Turkey, but there are a small number of Shiites, Ahmadiyas and other denominations. 200. A study in 2018 estimated that 38% of the population are not members of any religious organization or denomination. 4. Though up to a third may still consider themselves religious. 201. Irreligion in Germany is strongest in the former East Germany, which used to be predominantly Protestant before state atheism, and in major metropolitan areas 203 other religions comprising less than 1% of Germany's population 198, include Buddhism with 270,000 adherents, Judaism with 200,000 adherents, and Hinduism with some 100,000 adherents. All other religious communities in Germany have fewer than 50,000 adherents each. 204 languages. Main articles: German language and languages of Germany. German is the official and predominant spoken language in Germany. 205. German dialects, traditional local varieties traced back to the Germanic tribes, are distinguished from varieties of Standard German by their lexicon, phonology, and syntax. 206. It is one of 24 official and working languages of the European Union. 207, and one of the 3 working languages of the European Commission. German is the most widely spoken first language in the European Union, with around 100 million native speakers. 208 recognized native minority languages in Germany are Danish, Low German, Low Rhenish, Sorbian, Romani, North Frisian and Saterland Frisian. They are officially protected by the European Charter for Regional or Minority Languages. The most used immigrant languages are Turkish, Arabic, Kurdish, Polish, the Balkan languages and Russian. Germans are typically multilingual. 67% of German citizens claim to be able to communicate in at least one foreign language and 27% in at least 2. 205 Education. Main article: Education in Germany. Heidelberg University is Germany's oldest institution of higher learning and generally counted among its most prestigious. Responsibility for educational supervision in Germany is primarily organized within the individual federal states. Optional kindergarten education is provided for all children between 3 and 6 years old, after which school attendance is compulsory for at least 9 years. Primary education usually lasts for 4 to 6 years. 209. Secondary education includes 3 traditional types of schools focused on different academic levels. The gymnasium enrolls the most gifted children and prepares students for university studies. The Realschule for intermediate students lasts 6 years and the Hauptschule prepares pupils for vocational education. 210. The Gesamtschule unifies all secondary education. A system of apprenticeship called Dualausbildung leads to a skilled qualification which is almost comparable to an academic degree. It allows students in vocational training to learn in a company as well as in a state-run trade school. 209. This model is well regarded and reproduced all around the world. 211 Most of the German universities are public institutions, and students traditionally study without fee payment. 212 The general requirement for university is the Abitur. However, there are a number of exceptions, depending on the state, the college and the subject. Tuition-free academic education is open to international students and is increasingly common. 213-214. According to an OECD report in 2014, Germany is the world's 3rd leading destination for international study. 215 Germany has a long tradition of higher education. The established universities in Germany include some of the oldest in the world, with Heidelberg University established in 1386 being the oldest. 216. It is followed by the Leipzig University 1409, the Rostock University 1419 and the Greifswald University 1456. 217. The University of Berlin, founded in 1810 by the liberal educational reformer Wilhelm von Humboldt, became the academic model for many European and Western universities. In the contemporary era, Germany has developed 11 universities of excellence. 218 Health. Main article: Healthcare in Germany. The Hospital of the Holy Spirit in Lübeck, established in 1286, is a precursor to modern hospitals. 219 Germany's system of hospitals, called Krankenhaus, dates from medieval times, and today, Germany has the world's oldest universal healthcare system, dating from Bismarck's social legislation of the 1880s, 220. Since the 1880s, reforms and provisions have ensured a balanced healthcare system. Currently the population is covered by a health insurance plan provided by statute, with criteria allowing some groups to opt for a private health insurance contract. According to the World Health Organization, Germany's healthcare system was 77% government-funded and 23% privately funded as of 2013. 221. In 2014, Germany spent 11.3% of its GDP on healthcare. 222. Germany ranked 20th in the world in life expectancy with 77 years for men and 82 years for women. And it had a very low infant mortality rate 4 per 1,000 live births. 221. In 2015, the principal cause of death was cardiovascular disease, at 40%, followed by cancer, at 25%. 223. Obesity in Germany has been increasingly cited as a major health issue. A 2007 study shows Germany has the highest number of overweight people in Europe. 224. 225. Culture. Main article: Culture of Germany. Typical German Weihnachtsmarkt Christmas market in Dresden. Culture in German states has been shaped by major intellectual and popular currents in Europe, both religious and secular. Historically, Germany has been called Das Land der Dichter und Denker, the land of poets and thinkers. 226, because of the major role its writers and philosophers have played in the development of Western thought. 227. Germany is well known for such folk festival traditions as Oktoberfest and Christmas customs, which include Advent wreaths, Christmas pageants, Christmas trees, stolen cakes, and other practices. 228. 229. As of 2016, UNESCO inscribed 41 properties in Germany on the World Heritage List. 230. There are a number of public holidays in Germany determined by each state. The 3rd of October has been a national day of Germany since 1990, celebrated as the Tag der Deutschen Einheit, German Unity Day. 231. Prior to reunification, the day was celebrated on the 17th of June, in honor of the uprising of 1953 in East Germany, which was brutally suppressed on that date. 232. In the 21st century, Berlin has emerged as a major international creative center. 233. 234. A global opinion poll for the BBC revealed that Germany is recognized for having the most positive influence in the world in 2013 and 2014. 235. 236. Music. Main article: Music of Germany. Ludwig van Beethoven 1770–1827, composer. German classical music includes works by some of the world's most well-known composers. Dieterich Buxtehude composed oratorios for organ, which influenced the later work of Johann Sebastian Bach and Georg Friedrich Handel. These men were influential composers of the Baroque period. During his tenure as violinist and teacher at the Salzburg Cathedral, Augsburg-born composer Leopold Mozart mentored one of the most noted musicians of all time, Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. Ludwig van Beethoven was a crucial figure in the transition between the classical and romantic eras. Carl Maria von Weber and Felix Mendelssohn were important in the early romantic period. Robert Schumann and Johannes Brahms composed in the romantic idiom. Richard Wagner was known for his operas. Richard Strauss was a leading composer of the late Romantic and early modern eras. Karl Stockhausen and Hans Zimmer are important composers of the 20th and early 21st centuries. 237. Germany is the second largest music market in Europe, and fourth largest in the world. 238. German popular music of the 20th and 21st centuries includes the movements of Neue Deutsche Welle, pop, Ostrock, heavy metal, rock, punk, pop rock, indie and Schlagerpop. German electronic music gained global influence, with Kraftwerk and Tangerine Dream pioneering in this genre. 239. DJs and artists of the techno and house music scenes of Germany have become well known. E.g. Paul van Dyk, Paul Kalkbrenner, and Scooter. 240 Art and Design. Main articles: German art, architecture of Germany, and German fashion. D. Friedrich, Wanderer above the Sea of Fog. 1818. Franz Marc, Roe in the Forest. 1914. German painters have influenced Western art. Albrecht Dürer, Hans Holbein the Younger, Matthias Grunewald and Lucas Cranach the Elder were important German artists of the Renaissance. Peter Paul Rubens and Johann Baptist Zimmermann of the Baroque, Caspar David Friedrich and Karl Spitzweg of Romanticism, Max Liebermann of Impressionism and Max Ernst of Surrealism. 241. Notable German sculptors include Otto Schmidhofer, Franz Iffland, and Julius Schmidt-Felling. 242–243. Several German art groups formed in the 20th century. Die Brücke, the Bridge and Der Bleireiter, the Blue Rider influenced the development of Expressionism in Munich and Berlin. The new objectivity arose in response to Expressionism during the Weimar Republic. After World War II, broad trends in German art include Neo-Expressionism, performance art and conceptual art. Notable Neo-Expressionists include Georg Baselitz, Anselm Kiefer, Joachim Mendorf, A. R. Penck, Markus Luppertz, Peter Robert Kiel, and Rainer Fing. Other notable artists who work with traditional media or figurative imagery include Martin Kippenberger, Gerhard Richter, Sigmar Polk, and Neo Rauch. Leading German conceptual artists include Bernd and Hilla Beecher, Handar Bovon, Hans-Peter Feldmann, Hans Hack, Joseph Beuys, Harschelt, Aris Galeazes, and Andreas Gursky. Major art exhibitions and festivals in Germany are the Documenta, the Berlin Biennale, Transmediale and Art Cologne. 241. Resort architecture on Rügen. Architectural contributions from Germany include the Carolingian and Ottonian styles, which were precursors of Romanesque. Brick Gothic is a distinctive medieval style that evolved in Germany. Also in Renaissance and Baroque art, regional and typically German elements evolved. E.g. Weser Renaissance and Dresden Baroque. Among many renowned Baroque masters were Popelmann, Balthasar Neumann, Knobelsdorff and the Assam brothers. The Weser-Brunner school exerted a decisive influence on, and at times even dominated, the art of stucco in southern Germany in the 18th century. The Upper Swabian Baroque route offers a Baroque-themed tourist route that highlights the contributions of such artists and craftsmen as the sculptor and plasterer Johann Michael Feuchtner, one of the foremost members of the Feuchtner family, and the brothers Johann Baptist Zimmermann and Dominikus Zimmermann. 244. Vernacular architecture in Germany is often identified by its timber framing thatchwork traditions and varies across regions, and among carpentry styles. 245–246. Hohenzollern Castle in Swabia. When industrialization spread across Europe, classicism and a distinctive style of historism developed in Germany, sometimes referred to as Grundersitz style, due to the economical boom years at the end of the 19th century. Regional historicist styles include the Hanover School, Nuremberg style and Dresden's Sempernalie School. Among the most famous of German buildings, the Schloss Neuschwanstein represents Romanesque revival. Notable sub-styles that evolved since the 18th century are the German spa and seaside resort architecture. German artists, writers and gallerists like Siegfried Bing, Georg Hirth and Bruno Moring also contributed to the development of Art Nouveau at the turn of the 20th century, known as Jugendstil in German. 247. Expressionist architecture developed in the 1910s in Germany and influenced Art Deco and other modern styles, with E.g. Fritz Höger, Erich Mendelssohn, Dominikus Bohm, and Fritz Schumacher being influential architects. Germany was particularly important in the early modernist movement. It is the home of Werkbund initiated by Hermann Matthesius' New Objectivity, and of the Bauhaus movement founded by Walter Gropius. Consequently, Germany is often considered the cradle of modern architecture and design. Ludwig Mies van der Rohe became one of the world's most renowned architects in the second half of the 20th century. He conceived of the glass facade skyscraper. 248. Renowned contemporary architects and offices include Hans Kohlhoff, Sergei Chubin, KK Arkitekten, Helmut Jahn, Venus, GMP, Olaus Heeren, J. Meyer H. Omanges, Gottfried Bomm and Frey Otto, the last two being Pritzker Prize winners. 249 German designers became early leaders of modern product design. 250 The Berlin Fashion Week and the Fashion Trade Fair Bread and Butter are held twice a year. 251 Munich, Hamburg, Cologne and Dusseldorf are also important design, production and trade hubs of the domestic fashion industry. Among smaller towns, 252 renowned fashion designers from Germany include Karl Lagerfeld, Jill Sander, Wolfgang Jupp, Philipp Plein, and Michael Michalski. Important brands include Hugo Boss, Escada, Adidas, Puma, Esprit, and Triumph. The German supermodels Claudia Schiffer, Heidi Klum, Tatjana Patitz, Naaman, and Toni Gown, among others, have come to international fame. 253 Literature and philosophy main articles. German literature and German philosophy. The Brothers Grimm collected and published popular German folk tales. German literature can be traced back to the Middle Ages and the works of writers such as Walther von der Vogelweide and Wolfram von Eschenbach. Well-known German authors include Johann Wolfgang von Goethe, Friedrich Schiller, Gotthold Ephraim Lessing, and Theodor Fontane. The collections of folk tales published by the Brothers Grimm popularized German folklore on an international level. 254 The Grimms also gathered and codified regional variants of the German language, grounding their work in historical principles. Their Deutsches Wörterbuch, or German dictionary, sometimes called the Grimm Dictionary, was begun in 1838 and the first volumes published in 1854. 255 influential authors of the 20th century include Gerhart Hauptmann, Thomas Mann, Hermann Hesse, Heinrich Böll, and Günter Grass. 256. The German book market is the third largest in the world, after the United States and China. 257. The Frankfurt Book Fair is the most important in the world for international deals and trading, with a tradition spanning over 500 years. 258. The Leipzig Book Fair also retains a major position in Europe. 259. Immanuel Kant was a German philosopher whose comprehensive and systematic work in epistemology, the theory of knowledge, ethics, and aesthetics greatly influenced all subsequent philosophy, especially the various schools of Kantianism and idealism. German philosophy is historically significant. Gottfried Leibniz's contributions to rationalism, the Enlightenment philosophy by Immanuel Kant, the establishment of classical German idealism by Johann Gottlieb Fichte, Georg Wilhelm Friedrich Hegel and Friedrich Wilhelm Joseph Schelling, Arthur Schopenhauer's composition of metaphysical pessimism, the formulation of communist theory by Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels, Friedrich Nietzsche's development of perspectivism, Gottlob Frege's contributions to the dawn of analytic philosophy, Martin Heidegger's works on being, Oswald Spengler's historical philosophy, the development of the Frankfurt School by Max Horkheimer, Theodor Adorno, Herbert Marcuse and Jürgen Habermas have been particularly influential. 260 Media main articles. Media of Germany and Cinema of Germany. The largest internationally operating media companies in Germany are the Bertelsmann Enterprise, Axel Springer SE and ProSiebenSat. 1 Media. The German press agency dpa is also significant. Germany's television market is the largest in Europe, with some 38 million TV households. 261. Around 90% of German households have cable or satellite TV, with a variety of free-to-view public and commercial channels. 262. There are more than 500 public and private radio stations in Germany, with the public Deutsche Welle being the main German radio and television broadcaster in foreign languages. 263. Germany's national radio network is the Deutschlandradio, while ARD stations are covering local services. Many of Europe's best-selling newspapers and magazines are produced in Germany. The papers and internet portals with the highest circulation are Bilder Tabloid, Die Zeit, Süddeutsche Zeitung, Frankfurter Allgemeine Zeitung, and Die Welt. The largest magazines include Der Spiegel, Stern, and Focus. 264. The German video gaming market is one of the largest in the world. 265. German cinema has made major technical and artistic contributions to film. The first works of the Sklodowski brothers were shown to an audience in 1895. The renowned Babelsberg studio in Potsdam was established in 1912. Thus being the first large-scale film studio in the world. Today it is Europe's largest studio. 266. Other early and still active studios include JF and Bavaria Film. Early German cinema was particularly influential with German expressionists such as Robert Wiene and Friedrich Wilhelm Murnau. Director Fritz Lang's Metropolis 1927 is referred to as the first major science fiction film. 267. In 1930 Joseph von Sternberg directed The Blue Angel, the first major German sound film, with Marlene Dietrich. 268 Babelsberg Studio near Berlin. The world's first large-scale film studio after 1945. Many of the films of the immediate post-war period can be characterized as Trümmer film, rubble film. Such films included Wolfgang Storch's Die Mörder sind unter uns, The Murderers Are Among Us, 1946, and Ich Irgendwo in Berlin, Somewhere in Berlin, 1946 by Werner Krien. The state-owned East German film studio DIFA produced notable films including Im Schatten, Marriage in the Shadows by Kurt Metzig 1947, Der Untitan 1951, Die Geschichte von Klein Muck, The Story of Little Muck, 1953, Konrad Wolf's Der Gatelhimmel, Divided Heaven 1964, and Frank Behr's Jacob the Lie 1975. The defining film genre in West Germany of the 1950s was arguably the Heimat film, homeland film. These films depicted the beauty of the land and the moral integrity of the people living in it. 269. During the 1970s and 1980s, new German cinema directors such as Volker Schlendorff, Werner Herzog, Wim Wenders, and Rainer Werner Fassbinder brought West German auteur cinema to critical acclaim. The Academy Award for Best Foreign Language Film Oscar went to the German production Die Blicktrommel, The Tin Drum in 1979, to Nirgendwo in Africa, Nowhere in Africa in 2002, and to Das Leben der Anderen, The Lives of Others in 2007. Various Germans won an Oscar for their performances in other films. The annual European Film Awards ceremony is held every other year in Berlin, home of the European Film Academy. The Berlin International Film Festival, known as Berlinale, awarding the Golden Bear and held annually since 1951, is one of the world's leading film festivals. 270. The Lolas are annually awarded in Berlin, at the German Film Awards, that have been presented since 1951. Cuisine main article. German cuisine, Bavarian Weisswurst with sweet mustard, a pretzel and beer. German cuisine varies from region to region and often neighboring regions share some culinary similarities, e.g., the southern regions of Bavaria and Swabia share some traditions with Switzerland and Austria. International varieties such as pizza, sushi, Chinese food, Greek food, Indian cuisine and doner kebab are also popular. Bread is a significant part of German cuisine, and German bakeries produce about 600 main types of bread and 1,200 different types of pastries and rolls. Brötchen. German cheeses account for about a third of all cheese produced in Europe. 271. In 2012, over 99% of all meat produced in Germany was either pork, chicken or beef. Germans produce their ubiquitous sausages in almost 1,500 varieties, including bratwursts and weisswursts. 272. In 2012, organic foods accounted for 3.9% of total food sales. 273. Although wine is becoming more popular in many parts of Germany, especially close to German wine regions. 274. The national alcoholic drink is beer. German beer consumption per person stands at 110 liters, 24 impgal, 29 US gal in 2013 and remains among the highest in the world. 275. German beer purity regulations date back to the 16th century. 276. The 2015 Michelin Guide awarded 11 restaurants in Germany 3 stars, the highest designation, while 38 more received 2 stars and 233 1 star. 277. German restaurants have become the world's second most decorated after France. 278. 279. Sports main article, Sport in Germany. The German national football team, after winning the FIFA World Cup for the 4th time in 2014. Football is the most popular sport in Germany. 27 million Germans are members of a sports club and an additional 12 million pursue sports individually. 280. Association football is the most popular sport, with more than 6.3 million official members. The German Football Association Deutscher Fußball-Bund is the largest sports organization of its kind worldwide, and the German top league, the Bundesliga, attracts the second highest average attendance of all professional sports leagues in the world. 280. The German men's national football team won the FIFA World Cup in 1954, 1974, 1990, and 2014, the UEFA European Championship in 1972, 1980 and 1996, and the FIFA Confederations Cup in 2017. Germany hosted the FIFA World Cup in 1974 and 2006 and the UEFA European Championship in 1988. The country will host the UEFA European Championship in 2024. Other popular spectator sports include winter sports, boxing, basketball, handball, volleyball, ice hockey, tennis, horse riding and golf. Water sports like sailing, rowing, and swimming are popular in Germany as well. 280. Germany is one of the leading motorsports countries in the world. Constructors like BMW and Mercedes are prominent manufacturers in motorsport. Porsche has won the 24 Hours of Le Mans race 19 times, and Audi 13 times as of 2017. The driver Michael Schumacher has set many motorsport records during his career, having won 7 Formula One World Drivers' Championships, more than any other. He is one of the highest paid sportsmen in history. 281. Sebastian Vettel is also among the top 5 most successful Formula One drivers of all time. 282. Historically, German athletes have been successful contenders in the Olympic Games, ranking 3rd in an all-time Olympic Games medal count when combining East and West German medals. Germany was the last country to host both the Summer and Winter Games in the same year, in 1936. The Berlin Summer Games and the Winter Games in Garmisch-Partenkirchen. 283. Munich hosted the Summer Games of 1972. 284.